Hello, hello. Is that working better now? All right. Hopefully that should be working a little bit better. Let me welcome you all in. Thank you very much, folks. I'm running just a little bit behind schedule this morning. Mom is back home, which is a blessing. She's doing really well. There's been a few little, bits of confusion and frustration just getting her sorted out over here with her medications and all that, but it's going well overall. I can't complain. She's doing great. And she says thank you to all of you folks. She appreciates all the kind wishes and all the prayers and all that great stuff. She really appreciates you folks. Oh, I'm sorry, Nutty. Yeah, thank you very much, though. Definitely. Hope everything is okay there. And yeah, hopefully everything will work out. And hope you enjoy the replay. Have a great weekend. Welcome in, Hippieista. Welcome in, Fiona's mom, Alizu, JV Carpenter, Dot. Good to see you all, you folks, in here earlier than me. Where's your wrench? I can give you a wrench, Dot. I just have so many mods already. Like, I've got so darn many. Like, literally everybody's a mod. Like, I don't mind making you a mod, but at some point I'm gonna have to go through and get rid of a few folks. But I can make you a mod later. It's not a big deal. I'll add you in a minute once I get the show going, Doc. What's up, Hippieista? What's up? All right, I already welcomed you folks in. What's up, Jarella? Good to see ya. Kid DJ, what's up? Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna help you like outside of my channel, but I mean, I could, yeah, I'm saying like everybody's already a mod. Like I'm gonna have to go through and just demod everybody and then just start out from scratch again. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm just gonna demod everybody and start from scratch because I have everybody a mod at this point almost. But yeah, welcome in everybody. Welcome in. I think that actually is what I'm probably gonna do because I have so many mods at this point. I think I'm just gonna like go through and demod everybody and then just like if anybody specifically wants to be a mod, you can request it. Because it's just, I think that's what I don't want to get sidetracked. I don't mean to get sidetracked. Let's get back to the subject at hand. Glitter and lasers. Enough talking about this side stuff. All right, so let me turn off the music here and get back to the actual show. All right. So, welcome in everybody. Thank you all for coming in this Saturday morning. Today is a very special episode. It is dedicated to the influencer that keeps giving on back to the community. No end of endless cringe entertainment, whatever you want to call it, fakery, lying. And the person in question is Glitter and Lasers Anna. Why do I bother to talk about Glitter and Lasers Anna? Well, today we're going to be doing a reaction to a podcast she did that really goes in depth. But before we go into that, what I want to do is I want to just start off by going through two videos that I think really show who she is, that really delve into who she is as a person. At this point, it feels like that, Dot. It really does. So I think we're going to have to just make everybody, we're just going to demod everybody because I think that's the point we're at here now, where everybody's become a mod at this point. All right, but anyway, as far as the show goes, so Glitter and Lasers, the two videos that really show who she is. One of them is when she goes to Target and just kind of trashes the store, and the other one is when she does a workout that is a complete lie. So we're going to start off with the workout because I think the Target one is a little more fun, and we're going to put that one. I'm surprised there's anybody that doesn't have a wrench at this point, Alizu. It really does feel like it's every single person who has a wrench. All right, so I think I'm gonna after the show, I'm gonna go through and like really take like actually figure something out because this is definitely not a good situation where every single person has a wrench. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I want. So let's because that's exactly the situation I wanted to avoid, where it feels like everybody's got a wrench and then anybody who doesn't have a wrench, well, why don't I have a wrench? And that's not what's going on here because everybody here is cool. So I'm just going to demod everybody because I don't need all these mods. So don't worry about it. I'm demodding everybody and then we're going to start from scratch again because I don't even need mods except for like to post links. I just don't have that many people. So yes, let's start off with glitter and lasers. Now, for anybody who's new to the show, no, it's, to be fair, Dot, it's not you. It's that I just really do have too many mods. Like I've just made too many mods, and it is what it is. So I have to figure out the solution. It's my channel. It's nobody's fault. You know, it's my channel. I got to figure it out. But let's give people some entertainment, because we're going to be here for a little bit. I don't think anybody is interested in this mod stuff. So let's put on the glitter and lasers video. Let me get this set up. Hold on here. I just had this a second ago. So let me add the screen here. I feel like this intro is taking forever. So how have you folks been? Hopefully you've had a good weekend. Everything's started off well for you. Anybody got any good, interesting news, hopefully? Because I'm sure everybody's got some bad news, but I don't want to turn this into just like a bad news spill. I want this to be a fun day. All right, so here we go. Why do I show this video of Anna working out? Let me give some background of Anna's workouts. So Anna claimed to have lost 100 pounds over a period of time from exercise. Compared to how she looks now, you can clearly see she was a lot smaller in this video. So she was down a significant amount of weight. I'm not sure if it was 100 pounds, but actually from where she is now, it could be 100 pounds. This does look like enough of a difference. This was before she had all of the recent liposuction surgeries. This video was actually recorded. Let me look at the date. This video was posted over a year ago. I'm not sure of the exact upload date. Does it say? It probably says somewhere, but the video is over a year old. Let's say a year and a half. And this was back when Anna was in her workout queen phase. This is back when she was claiming that she exercised 3 days a week, that she was sponsored by an app. That's why she produced this video. I guess I'm not going in order like I should, but this video exists because she was sponsored by a fitness app. And this fitness app, I don't know what the exact requirement they had for her was, but she did not really post a lot of videos of her working out. She just posted like little shorts and then would say things like, hey, I'm going to go do my workout. And she never really posted any full workout videos, which is very questionable. It's a questionable thing. This woman who's an influencer who vlogs every single thing she does. She goes and buys a hot dog. She vlogs it. She gets, she forgets to bring her underwear. She goes back home to get it. She vlogs that. But she's exercising 3 times a week for over a year, loses 100 pounds, allegedly all through exercise. Spoiler, we later find out she was actually on weight loss drugs the entire time, which she never told anybody about until after the fact. So this whole weight loss was really from the weight loss drugs. And the working out was fake. How do we know the working out was fake? Let's watch her workout, and you folks can tell me if this looks like somebody who's been in the gym 3 times a week for over 6 months at this point, because that's what she'd been claiming. She'd have claimed something like 80 workouts. I did the math. When this video was made, she had claimed to have completed over 50 or 60 workouts at this point. And she'd claimed to have been an athlete, and she used to run 3 miles a day, twice a week or something. No big deal. So just to give some preface, this woman claims to be an athlete. She claims to be able to run 3 miles without any trouble. So let's get a look.
So today we're doing a series of workouts that are going to be 45 seconds on and 15 seconds off.
All right, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off. Okay, that could work. Nothing wrong with that.
And we're going to do them in sets. The first set is going to be really easy. So to get our blood pumping, we're going to do a warm up. And this is just to make sure your muscles are ready to go. So this is how I start each and every workout. And honestly, some of the things that used to be my actual workout are now in my warm up. So we're going to do an overhead to floor stretch for 20 seconds. We're going to do a body weight.
What's going on? I've had you removed. I don't understand. Like, what's happening?
Keeping with that theme, we're going to
I'll mod you if like you're worried that you're going to get removed or something. Like give me a second. I'll go over to the other window and get it.
Frankenstein. 4? You guessed it. 20 seconds. Now this one's a little bit of a challenge. And if you're new to working out, I wouldn't suggest doing this without some type of support. but we're gonna do a walking lunge. Now, if you're really nervous about this and you're like, oh, I cannot do that, you can actually grab onto a countertop or somewhere else for stability and just go as low as you can.
All right, you're modded for now, Dot. So I don't know how it's gonna make any difference, but hopefully it will.
Let's go.
All right. I gotta mod you too, Fallen Angel. You're the only person who's not modded. now I gotta mod you too. I'll mod you too. Hold on. Let me mod Fallen Angel as well. Everybody's getting modded today. Everybody's getting modded.
Just go at your own pace.
All right.
You have to go as fast as me. You can even go faster.
But anyway, here's her doing her workout. Starts off pretty well. Kicks with the stiff knees, the locked knees, this is how you get pain in your legs. She claims to have all this pain now. Could it possibly be from all these stiff? I'm glad that she's working out. I want to preface that for anybody who's not familiar with my opinion of Anna and glitter and lasers and all this and people working out. I think it's great for people to work out. I think if you're heavy, clearly having a lot of difficulty. And this is, if you notice in the corner, it says this is her warm-up. These are like working sets. This is not a warm-up. She's having difficulty completing the movements. So I don't understand why she would do this for a warm-up when she has so much difficulty. Video, because I want to cover a lot more than this. But let's keep going here.
It's time to get into the workout. Now, this is a great workout because you can do it at home and you don't need any weights.
And again, what frustrates me is you notice at no point did she give a disclaimer. Talk to your doctor. Talk to your personal trainer. Talk to somebody who's experienced in the gym. Something like that. Make sure that you're safe to do this. Don't just jump into the gym and copy safe workout. Those lunges alone were very shaky.
It's also a good workout for someone who's just starting. I'm coming back from surgery and I need to be very careful about
steady
how I use my body. And this is a great workout for that because it's going to allow me to build.
All right, she's saying here, she's all over the place. She's saying this is a beginner workout. This is a great one for her coming back from surgery. But then why are you doing such difficult exercises? Why don't you choose some exercises that are easier for you, Anna? If this is you coming back from a time off.
Strength without pushing too hard or damaging anything. So let's get into it. The first set is going to be comprised of 3 exercises. We're going to have a step jack, a high knee, and then also an elevated plank with a knee tap. Now, if this feels a little bit too difficult for you, you can always just switch to a high knee tap.
I'm going to say if this is too difficult for you, I think you should probably look into water aerobics. And I'm just being straight up. Anybody, when the heavier you are, the more careful you have to be with injury. When I was heavier, I was even more careful about injury. And if you're at the point where even, we're just walking around and just running and jumping and that kind of physical activity is tough for you, you got to be careful. If these exercises are tough, I would say talk to a physical therapist. Talk to your doctor. Don't just try to copy Anna. Oh, good to see you, Fallen Angel. So, and my apologies if I missed anybody coming in. Any lurkers, anybody watching the replay, you're all very much appreciated. Just to give a little bit of a recap for anybody who's just coming in. Today we're doing a special on glitter and lasers. We're going to be going into an in-depth podcast she does where she talks about her medical history. But we're starting off with 2 videos that I think really represent who she is as a person. The second one is going to show how I think she kind of acts socially and why I don't really care for her. Her attitude is very obnoxious in my opinion. And we'll see that in a moment. But this one here, though, is how I don't like how she misleads her audience. She tells her audience to buy this app so they can work out. They can copy her workouts. And she claimed to have lost 100 pounds from exercise. later on, she admitted it wasn't from exercise. It was from weight loss drugs. And we know this. I always suspected this because this video here, which is the only evidence online of her workout queen phase, she allegedly worked out for a year straight, 3 times a week, but there's no evidence to document any of that, except for this video and a couple shorts. And this video is also heavily edited. If you notice, she cuts out the time between the exercises. So we don't know if she says she's doing 45 seconds on with 15-second breaks, but most of the 15-second breaks are cut out. So it could have been a 15-minute break for all we know. So this is the first set. And you could already tell she's faking for the camera. Because notice she's not breathing like she needs to. She's not doing a good steady breath. Instead, she's holding her breath and smiling for the camera. Let's watch this again. Because notice how she kind of steals a breath. This is actually funny watching it like this.
I need tap. Let's get into it.
So she starts off actually breathing like she kind of should, but then watch how she holds her breath and starts to present an image on camera that's not who she really is. Because if the camera was off, she would be breathing heavily and focusing on doing the exercise correctly. Instead, her legs are completely stiff knee. Look at that right knee. That knee looks practically hyperextended. It's so stiff. And she's concentrating on smizing for the camera, as Tyra Banks used to say, instead of concentrating on the workout form. Now, if she was a real workout queen, she wouldn't need to concentrate on the form. She'd be doing it second nature. The fact that the moment she loses concentration, she reverts to this stiff-legged form and she forgets to breathe tells me she's not comfortable in the gym. And I say this as somebody who is not a gym expert. I'm not qualified to be a personal trainer, but I've spent hundreds of hours in. I mean, that's over the course of decades. So I'm not in the best shape right now. But if I got back in the gym, even my first day back, I would not look as awkward as this. We got to make you a mod too. You're like the only one left who's not a mod. I do have her sped up a little bit. Oh, actually, Jamie, that's a good point. Thank you for mentioning that. I probably should slow her down because I don't want it to look like she's working out faster than she actually is. And that's actually something kind of important. We should see her actual workout speed. I don't want to misrepresent that. So I'm going to slow it back down to normal just for that purpose. So it's a good point, Jamie.
5 seconds of high knee.
Notice, I think this is the only 15-second break that she actually shows to us. All of the others are edited out, so we don't know how long she actually takes in between. Oh, no, she still cut it. She cut the edit. She cut that with an edit. She couldn't even do one 15-second break and then go immediately to the next exercise. She had to cut it. She had to cut out the time in between because it was clearly more than 15 seconds. And now instead of breathing, notice she goes back to the stiff legs, driving down with a stiff knee and not breathing properly. And notice she's not touching her knee. She's touching the inside of her thigh because if she actually pulled up her knee high enough to touch the knee, she'd be getting a more intense workout. So she's not completing a single rep if you want to be strict about it. She's not actually completing a single rep. If you want to be like a real stickler, like I'm not saying she needs to. I don't think she needs to do that exercise. I think just getting her leg off the ground is enough. But if she wants to claim that she's doing these high knees where she hits, that's not what she's doing. So again, it's like her running and jogging. She jogs, she walks, which is great, but she calls it running, and that's not true. Like what she's doing here, this is activity, and that's good. But it's not the exercise she's calling it, and it's not even a good exercise because that knee is so stiff, I don't think it's healthy for her. I think she's possibly damaging her body while she does this. Oh, happy birthday, Fiona's mom.
I am definitely.
Yes,
out of
Jarella,
shape
she was
right
so
now.
much smaller here.
And I hate it.
She was so much smaller here. And look,
definitely.
she's given up even on touching her knees at this point. She doesn't even try to touch her knees. She's no longer bringing her knees straight up. Now she's just kind of pulling them off to the side. So she's not even using the same muscle groups. And she's always on a stiff knee, hyperextended almost, on the other leg. I don't like to nitpick because I always like to be positive. I always like to say it's just good to get out there. It's good job getting out there. That's my philosophy. It's good to get out there. It's good to be active. But you have to weigh the long-term risk of injury versus the short-term benefit of the exercise. I don't think this exercise is worth it for the potential risk of injury that she's taking. I think that if she really exercised like this 3 times a week, she would either get in really good shape or she would be hurt, because she could not exercise like this regularly without something happening. You know what I mean? Like either she's going to lose the weight because she's clearly doing way more than she's capable of. So when you exert yourself that much, it's going to have an effect. Or she's just going to get hurt because she's clearly pushing herself beyond her limits. But I don't think she really did very many workouts like this. I think maybe she tried 1 or 2 more for the camera and she kept this one.
Out of shape right now, but you know what?
The wine
This
break.
process to getting back in shape starts with this.
Good point.
Remember that. That's what I'm thinking about.
She can't actually raise her leg to the point to touch her knee effectively. And that's fine. Modify the exercises for your body. But also, why can't she wear like something a little more flattering too? Like these pants are so skin tight. Why can't she put like a little skirt over that? Or like, you know what, they have those leotards? Like, why can't she put like one of those over that to give a little bit more modesty?
Not right now.
You know what I mean?
Remembered when this was easy.
Oh, and why not wear tights? She always says that she needs the compression gear for her lipedema. Why not wear full tights?
Oh my fucking God.
Notice this is the first set of 3 sets. This is the second exercise of 3 exercises on the first set of 3 sets. This is set 2 of 9 total. Does she look like she has even one more set in her? I don't think she does. This is supposed to be the exercise queen who lost 100 pounds working out. She's clearly much smaller here, which tells you that she's been doing something to lose weight. But if it was exercise, how come she's not any fitter?
Oh, John, why is this so hard?
Why can't she complete 1 set?
Up next is 45 seconds of elevated knee.
And notice in the beginning, she lied and said she's only taking 15 seconds off between sets. She doesn't bother to correct us and say, hey, you know what? I misjudged myself. I needed a lot more than 15 seconds between sets. Make sure you give yourself at least 15 seconds between sets. Instead, she lies to her audience and makes them think that she only needs 15 seconds between sets. So if somebody watching her tries to copy her, they're going to not be able to do it. And they might feel bad about themselves. They might think, how come I can't do it? How come Anna can do this, but I can't? I must not be working hard enough. And they might feel guilty. They might feel bad. They might try to work harder and get hurt. But it's all built on lies. And I always want to make sure by pronating, you mean like pushing it out, right?
Yes, we know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man. Yes, we know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane.
Exactly the kind of crap that I can't respect about this woman. So people say things like, well, why do you give her a hard time for working out? It's good that she's working out. Yeah, it is, but it's bad that she's lying to her audience and telling them that something is possible that's not. She's telling her audience that in the shape that she's in, she's able to do this interval training, 45 seconds on, 15 seconds off, and it's tough for her, but she's able to do it as a big girl. No, you're not. You're not able to complete 1 set. I haven't seen you properly complete a single set of exercise since you've begun, and you haven't kept your weights to 15 seconds once. You have not done a single thing that you've said you were going to do in this video. On my right
I always
foot
talk about
especially.
consistency is really important. Let this be a lesson.
Okay. Time. So this exercise I like because I think she could do 45 seconds of this without falling apart. But still, her form is even on this, her form is bad. Even on this, her form is bad. She always has that really stiff knee. She never bends her knees when she should. It's just bad form all around.
All of this used to be super easy for me.
When? When was it super easy for you, Glitter? Do you have a single video showing you ever exercising where it wasn't at least as difficult as this?
And then a couple weeks off. And here I am.
A couple weeks off and here I am. This is not a couple weeks off. This is somebody who has never spent any real time exercising. This is somebody who any weight loss they had is a product of drugs and maybe starving themselves. Because this body was not built in the gym. I can tell you that. And notice how easily she lies.
All of this used to be super easy for me.
She really thinks that people are going to believe that. All this, when was it super easy for you, Glitter? What point of your life were you actually exercising it was easy for you?
And then a couple weeks off.
Just a couple weeks. This was just a couple weeks.
And here I am.
Just a couple weeks from not doing her 3-mile runs. Okay, so I think we've seen enough of the exercise video to make my point. I don't need to just go. I'm going to skip ahead. We'll see like 1 or 2 more. What's another one she does? Here, let's see these exercises. Let's watch a couple more. But you're going to see my point. She doesn't complete any actual reps.
You're welcome, you friend.
On her knees. This exercise is called putting your full body weight on your knees and just, I don't even know what this exercise is called. But whatever, this is the point. This is what I'm trying to say. This woman at this point in time was claiming to have lost 100 pounds entirely from working in the gym. Okay, Anna, sure, we believe that. Okay, let me put on the bumper and we're going to go to the next video real quick. Lipedema warrior betrayed. Yeah, she claims to have no more burnable fat left on her body, but she was 100 pounds heavier than when she was in that video. Okay, now we've got the timeless classic, the target. This is a video Anna deleted. This is no longer available on YouTube, but I still have it. I got a copy of this thanks to Kiwi Farms. Shout out Kiwi Farms. Very, very valuable site. A little bit difficult to find information on sometimes, but if you can search for it, it's there.
I'm headed to do a little bit of a Target run, and I thought I would bring you guys along because Target's fun. And I figured you might enjoy seeing the things I pick up when I head to my local Target.
Okay, so the rumor is that she got denied for a Target sponsorship. So she went out. This is just a rumor, but this is what I heard. She was denied for a Target sponsorship. So she went to Target and decided to trash the place and make a mess out of it. Let me make sure the volume's not too high.
Ta-da! Target!
And notice there's music. This is an edited video. This is not just like a live stream she did. This video was edited together and she thought this video was going to make her look good.
To the Target. I lied because I did find like a big one that can like go in a little pair. I think they're really cute and they're super affordable because they're in the dollar spot.
Okay, so notice how here she seems a little bit buzzed maybe. By the end of the video, she's totally out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, this is the normal size section. This is the straight size section. This is not the plus size section. The plus size section is on the other side, is over to the side. She doesn't even bother going to the plus size section. Instead, she just grabs stuff that she knows won't fit, and let's see what she does with it.
It was like right on the end. It was my size. It was calling to me.
It's right. It's her size, she said. It's called her. Are you sure? This is not the plus size area, Anna.
A little tight. Yes, it's
A little tight.
small.
So she stretches it out, possibly
So that's it now.
risks splitting the back.
Which is a bummer because it's so cute. It's like I'm right in between an extra large and a 2X right now, and so
She's right between an extra large and a 2X, which doesn't even make sense because an extra large is a 2X. But I'm assuming she just misspoke. I think she meant to say she's between an extra large and a 2X, which she is not. She meant to say she's between a double X and a 3X. I don't even know about that either. I don't think that I think maybe she could squeeze into a 3X in the top, but not in the bottom.
sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I would just try it, which is
But even so, a 3X would still be in the plus size section. So I don't know what she's doing here.
shopping a little bit less fun because it really is a 50-50 chance.
Let's see some of your comments.
50% chance something will work, or just totally fail.
Hung over, yes. Welcome in, Detective. Of course you got a wrench also. This is so loud. Hold on, let me turn this down. The music is mixed so loud in this video. This is just, ugh. Look at how tiny that is. Okay, and notice how skanky and dirty her hair is. And she's trying on knit caps, which absorb everything. And look how dirty her hair is.
Why?
And unkempt.
Why so much
Let me put the volume back up. Hold on.
hat? Too much hat. Now my hair is all messy. Whatever.
Now my hair is all... Your hair was messed up before you got there, Anna. Again, this is... Do you see anything on these shelves that looks like it might fit her? And I'm not trying to be mean, but why? But Anna knows this. She's supposed to be a model. She gets clothes every month. She spends $1,000 on new clothing. But she wants us to think we don't know... She doesn't know what size she is?
Y'all, it caught my eye, and if they don't have my size, I'm gonna be so pissed.
Yes.
It is a bedazzled
Really?
denim jacket. Bedazzled.
So she really should know what the sizes are in that case. Then she has no excuse to think that these single X's are going to fit.
Okay, this is a large, and I'm gonna go dig through the jackets.
That's possible
I
too.
love it. It's so ridiculous.
Okay, and anybody remember the Christmas sweaters that she made that didn't fit? Anna has an obsession with tops that don't fit. I think that she, for whatever reason, she's decided that, if tops can't fit her, that they shouldn't fit anybody.
But it's kind of amazing.
Look at that. It doesn't even go down to her belly button. It doesn't even go cover her belly button. And she's like, it's so amazing.
I'm getting it. It's so stupid. I love it. I mean, it's teddy bears with Christmas lights. How could I not? I had to. Okay, I kind of like this one. I don't like that I can't read it clearly, though. But there's part of me like, this is the one I wanted. But of course, not my size. I mean, it
Not
looks
her
very
size.
stretchy, though,
It's
but
bigger than the one you just bought.
I'm going to let the sweater live its best life.
Exactly.
No.
And she tries on hats with that
Also,
dirty,
why
skanky
do they
hair.
make all this cute ass kid clothes
All these cute ass clothes and none of them fit.
and none of it in my size. That's all I want to say.
None of it in her size. Anna, you do realize they have a plus size section that might have something in your size. You just have to walk over there.
I would buy all of it.
And then you would return it.
I don't have it in my size.
Don't have it in my
Video.
size.
It's
What
not
does she
my size.
What does she think? She keeps saying they don't have it in my size. They don't have it in my size. What do you expect? You're just stopping in the section that doesn't fit you.
Okay, we gotta find this in my size. That's really cute. With the Christmas trees.
And again, why am I showing this? Because people say, why do people like Anna? Because she's so sweet and she's so nice and she's so transparent. We've seen that she's not transparent. And let's see how nice she is. Let's see how nice she is to people who aren't paying her. Just throws it back. Just get that crap out of my way. I don't need this sweater. It doesn't fit.
I'm
come face to face with something that like I was destined for.
All right, now you can tell she's starting to get out of it. I've come to face with something you can tell I was destined for. What? Destined to have clothes that don't fit?
This might be too small.
This might be too small.
Yeah, no. Nope. What about this? This was supposed to be a fun and joyful trip, but it's turning out kind of sad.
At least she puts this one back on the hanger, but she doesn't even bother to straighten it. Whatever, that's not too bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Now she's starting to rock out.
Look how sad this is.
Hopefully you can hear this. I gotta make it a little louder.
Terrible. I'm gonna help my girls out. They look absolutely horrific.
She's saying these are dressed horrifically. Anna, they're dressed better than you. Their clothes fit. So I don't see how you could say these mannequins are dressed badly. They're dressed better than you are.
Maybe put her in this.
Look at that. Okay. Whose outfit, who wore it better? Anna or the mannequin? And she's going to seriously say that these mannequins need help. Not from you.
So they can be in like a holiday look? Pissed. It looks terrible.
So look what she's doing now. And some people, I don't want to be a pearl clutcher, but this is actually kind of a big deal because these mannequins, I found out these mannequins are actually really expensive. They cost like thousands of dollars. So if you damage them, that's a big deal. I mean, the store could replace them, of course, but the employee who's supposed to be in charge of these mannequins can get in a lot of trouble. So she's really making life difficult for these employees. They have to put outfits on these mannequins. And if the outfit that they're supposed to have on there is not on there, they could get in a lot of trouble. This is just something that's, this is a big deal. This is something you shouldn't be doing. And it's not like she's a 12-year-old girl and she doesn't know better. This is a grown woman. I don't see why she thinks this is okay. This is just absurd. And she didn't get permission either. She treats the store like her own personal movie set. And these are as if these were her props and as if the employees were extras in her own personal documentary. But that's not what's going on here. What she's doing is she's just going into a store and taking advantage of the fact that if they try to kick her out, she's going to put them on blast on social media.
What is this? This girl has a beanie on too. It's so bad.
You were literally just wearing a beanie not 3 minutes ago. This beanie, it's so bad. You were literally wearing one not even 2 minutes ago, Anna.
Okay, I'm going to keep her pants.
Don't be jealous. The mannequin has cleaner hair than you.
I think it's going to be too much to switch her pants. Honestly, these two mannequins should be together because they're both going to a party. And now, I got to keep her.
She keeps the mannequin dressed more modestly than herself.
Keep this clean for a second. What are these shoes? Who is this girl? Give me that.
Borderline.
I know I'm going to use.
All right, Elisa. I was trying to make a joke.
What the hell they had you in?
Yes.
Get this in here.
Oh, good point.
There's a Target person like right across the way, and I'm just having to pretend like nothing's happening.
Okay, so this part proves that she realizes that she knows she shouldn't be doing this because she said a Target employee came nearby. So now she's trying to act like she didn't do this. So in other words, you know you're not supposed to be doing this. And now you're trying to hide.
But I gotta help the girl out. She looks rough. My work here is done.
You look drunk.
But seriously, you want people to feel better about themselves? Make the mannequins look good. How are people supposed to feel like they're gonna look good in your clothes when your mannequins, who are perfectly proportioned, look like trash?
The irony of this woman having sponsorships from clothing companies and talking about how if your clothes look like trash on your model, people aren't going to want to wear them. The irony of Anna saying that if clothes look like trash on your models, people aren't going to want to wear them is just, this is maybe the most ironic thing I've ever heard anybody say. The least self-aware thing I've ever heard anybody say. Anna really believes that how the clothes look on the model is going to determine if people buy them, and she wants to model clothing? Is she insane?
That's all I'm gonna say.
And again, this absolutely obnoxiously loud music. Now I got to turn
They're
it
a
back
bit
off.
big right now, so I'm trying to find. Oh, these. These are amazing. They're like $50, which is like a really good price. But I don't need them, so they're going back. That's cute.
Again, look how tiny this top is. There's no way this could possibly fit her. Look at this.
Like, how is that an XL?
How is that an XL? Because you're not an XL.
I'm gonna look and see if they have this online in Plus. Because if they do, I'm gonna buy it. Because, like this, oh my gosh. Do you see the vision? Like, this is me.
This is you.
And I need sports bras because I worked out in one the other day and my boobs popped out the side. And that is...
No, Anna, those are your side boobs that popped out. Those are your back boobs, excuse me. That's your back cleavage that popped out. That wasn't your boobs.
the reality of my life right now. Things just be popping out of where they're supposed to be.
And notice how she just throws the clothing back in a pile. She does it. She says, oh, I'm going to go online and buy this. And then she grabs another piece just to ruffle it up and then throw all 3 pieces back on the table.
And not in a good way.
And just
I'm
walks off.
constantly losing my new iPhone charging cord. It's driving me nuts. And I just
Got to flex about how she's got the new iPhone.
thought this one was cute because look at the back. Yeah, this one, it'll probably last like 2 weeks, but I swear I lose them, break them all the time. I am not a gentle person and I'm okay with that.
You're not a gentle person, Anna. No, you're a clumsy person, and you're a careless person. That's different than being gentle. You're clumsy and you're careless, and that's something you should have a problem with because you damage things that other people have to clean up.
It's taking me so long to notice. It's so gross. Who knows what that is? Oh my gosh, they're really
That fall out of you?
soft. I don't think I
Okay, now this part really bothered me. Her disgusting unwashed face with what a week's worth of makeup left over and her greasy ass hair all over this child's toy. So now that some child is going to pick this up and get her disgusting, acne scabs all over their own face. Please don't do that, Anna. Acne is contagious. If you rub your face all over something and then you give it to some kid, they might end up with skin problems.
Do I need this? Actually, Justin's canceled, so no.
Justin's canceled. I love how she's got to throw that in there. Like she can't just leave it alone. I don't even know what that means.
I know this is a brand that's on TikTok, but I keep seeing this thing on.
Oh, I love this. Weighted fitness suit. Again, another gimmicky thing. I thought you were the workout queen, Anna. This was recorded back during the period of time that she claimed to be working out 3 times a week. She had a sponsorship from a fitness app. But yet, this woman who knows so much about exercise is going to buy this clearly scam item. This item is clearly a scam. This can't possibly do anything except maybe help you train to use a hula hoop.
On TikTok, and I feel like I've always wanted to try it, so I was like, for $30, I'm gonna try it. I don't even know if it's gonna fit around my waist. Dude is very particular. He likes things that feel soft. If it feels like a blanket, he'll wear it. If it feels like anything else, he won't. Then I'll pass the soft test. Okay, so I'm like pretty much done. I just need to hit up protein and snacks.
Yeah, she's got to hit up her protein snacks because for whatever reason, she decided that eating all these protein snacks is somehow healthy. I don't know where she came up with this delusion.
Because I'm a protein girly now. And then, yeah, pay and check out. I'm going to get some Alanya News and Rocky Road. You guys suggested I try these, the Think bars, so I'm going to...
Okay, so she just stocks up on nothing but candy bars. And they may be loaded with protein, guys, but they're still basically treats. This is not a healthy substitute for real food.
Throw those in.
I mean, you could have one of these bars as a meal substitute, sure. But if you're not supposed to eat 4 of them at a time.
I'm kind of barred out, though. I want something else that's not a
But you are literally barred out.
bar, so let's see what we can find. Maybe we have a challenger, because I just found Red Bull makes a peach version now. The energy game is getting too intense for me. Too many options. Snagging a couple Smart Sweets. Sour Buddies are the best Smart Sweets. Don't come for me in the comments. You know I'm right.
So she buys candy, snacks, and clothes that don't fit.
Okay, I'm going through the beauty section and I'm not allowed to buy anything because I have way too much stuff I have not used.
The beauty
already,
section.
It's always like alluring.
The beauty section. You have way too much stuff you have not used. Well, I don't know if you've used anything that will beautify you, but you've certainly used far too many cosmetics. That skin is the result of somebody who puts on way too much foundation and doesn't wash it off.
Especially at holiday season.
Like you can see the layers of foundation from like the previous days. Like you can see it's like thicker across her nose.
It all looks so dang cute. I love cute. This Target has like fancy stuff.
I love that face she makes. Like it's just so ugly.
I haven't been in a Target for a long time because I usually order online. And like Target got...
Oh, you know something? I just figured out why her skin is so bad. Because her hair is so dirty and it sits on her skin all day. If she washed her hair, it would probably help her skin to clear up too. Now that I'm thinking, I think that's what Anna needs to do. She needs to start washing her hair and it'll also clear up her skin.
Even fancier if that's possible. These. You like never find them in boxes, bags here. I'm trying to see if they have this one, but I like the sour cream. Oh, yes!
Like I have sympathy, but she's an influencer. She has unlimited resources to go to like, she can go to spas and get facials and get all kinds of medicines. I don't understand why she won't do that.
And I've been waiting to get...
I mean, and also want to point this out too. I don't want anybody to think I'm making fun of this poor lady who can't afford to help herself. This is a wealthy woman. Regardless of where the money comes from, she has no shortage of resources. She has sponsorships as well. So she's getting a series of liposuction surgeries. She's sponsored by fashion companies. All these sponsorships, why doesn't she get somebody to get her some cleanser for her face? Why doesn't she get a sponsorship with a spa or an esthetician who can do some facials and help her, give her a chemical peel? I know there's a lot, like there literally is an entire field dedicated to making your skin look better. And she doesn't take advantage of any of the advances that they have to offer.
Get these because I haven't seen them yet. Spicy queso. So it's and they have the Quest crackers. The protein section in Target is popping. It is popping. What are these?
Look at how much of this stuff she buys.
I've never had these before.
I don't believe that.
It doesn't have enough protein.
Doesn't have enough protein. What is your standard, Anna? I love it. Doesn't have enough protein. She doesn't even bother to check how many calories it has. She doesn't even look at the calories. Oh, it doesn't have enough protein.
She eats so much freaking protein for recovery.
For recovery. She has to eat so much protein to recover. Remember that workout she just did? That workout was clearly something that, would take a lot of protein to recover from. A lot of muscles being burnt there.
Oh my God. This is
more
like
chips?
Christmas for like protein chips. Legendary Foods that makes the most incredible Pop-Tart stuff.
By the way, I tried one of those Pop-Tarts. They're really not that good. I mean, for a protein Pop-Tart, they're not terrible, but they're not that good.
Now has protein
and they're expensive. That's the other thing too. It was like $3 for one Pop-Tart. It was not worth it.
And I've heard that they're really
for one package.
Good.
It was like $3. It was not that good.
I never knew this. I'm coming to Target for protein shit all the time. I'm like,
it was okay.
It's so sad how happy I am about this. I know this is like the saddest thing in the world, but I'm literally geeking out here. This is the brown. It's the brown. I can get the brown sugar one.
This is pathetic that this woman is seriously selling her audience on this stuff. She is trying to get her audience to buy this. She was sponsored by these brands, by the way. I believe she was. I'm pretty sure she got a sponsorship through these brands. So this was not entirely just, oh, I love this stuff. This was all, oh yeah, buy these brands.
Here, I was ordering these online. They have it all. They literally have everything that I've been paying ridiculous shipping to get, and I didn't even know it. I'm literally having a moment right now. I'm having a moment. Oh, I gotta get those. I don't want to drop them. Look at that sexy hand brushing his hair. It makes me want to brush my hair.
I hope something does, because clearly nothing has ever given you that feeling before.
Suddenly, I want to take care of myself for all these.
Anna, what is that? This is all we've ever asked from you.
Sexy men grooming themselves.
Here, I'll send you a picture of me if that's all it takes.
This might be my favorite section of the entire Target.
And she thought that video made her look relatable. I don't know what you want to call it. Nothing but junk in her cart. Snacking is a marketing scheme. Okay, I'm glad I got your opinion on that, Jarella, because you eat. I know that came out wrong. I know you do working out, like you do a lot of workout fitness stuff. So I know you've tried like a lot of those things. So I definitely glad that you and I are in agreement that they're not that good. Because you know swears by them, that Dave Palumbo guy. He swears they're so good, and I was like, okay, well let me try them. And all right, let me okay, so let me put on the bumper, and now we've got the new content. That was the introduction. I know a lot of you have seen some of that before, but that was the introduction to Glitter and Lasers, who she is, what she's about. And now, after that fitness journey, she gained back all of the weight she lost on that fitness journey. And what happened after that? Let me find the video. Hold on. Anna's story. Share this tab instead. Hopefully you guys can hear that.
Welcome to the very first episode
Can you folks hear
of
that,
the
I hope?
Medical Detectives Podcast, where each week we'll dive into the fascinating, mysterious,
How's the
and
audio on
sometimes
this one?
downright bizarre world of medicine, told by the people who've lived it.
We're your hosts. I'm Anna O'Brien.
And I'm Dr. Nance, an orthopedic surgeon with a passion for uncovering disparities in medicine. I've built a platform on bringing awareness to misdiagnosis in women and sharing stories that can hopefully help people.
All right, so let me give a bit of a background on this, also to catch anybody up who's just coming in. Today is a special on Glitter and Lasers Anna O'Brien. She is an influencer, a super morbid obese influencer who over the years has originally was a body positivity fan, advocate, I don't know what you call it, fat acceptance icon. I'm not even sure of the precise terminology one would use, but she was into that whole thing, denying the harmful effects of the obesity that was having on her body. Since then, she's kind of been forced to acknowledge that that's not accurate and obesity is a real thing and it has affected her very negatively. She accepted sponsorships for exercise app. She lost 100 pounds using weight loss drugs without it telling anybody. She instead lied and said she lost it all through exercise. Then she gained it back. Then she admitted that she actually used weight loss drugs. Then she said it actually is now impossible for her to lose any more weight. Then she had to get a series of liposuction surgeries because nothing else will help her to get her massive body weight down. But it is not for looks. It is not for cosmetic purposes. It is only because she wants to feel better. And it is not because obesity feels bad. It's because she has a condition called lipedema. And I'm not going to go into all that. She's going to explain herself, and we're going to talk about all that in a moment. But apparently, that is what causes all of her pain. And the only cure is lots of liposuction. There's literally nothing else she can do that she hasn't already done. And now she has doctors giving her multiple series of liposuction and skin removal surgeries. After the first two, they took out approximately 40 pounds of fat and skin. She's since then gained it all back, plus more. Now they just did another surgery, removing fat and skin from her arms. Anna has gotten rid of her scale, so now who knows if she will actually gain this weight back. She won't know, although we will know by the lack of new videos that she releases. With that introduction, I'm going to go through some of your comments and let's start. This show here. This is a podcast that she started called The Medical Detectives, which is dedicated to allegedly to helping people, helping women. It seems to really just be a platform for Anna to tell her story and make herself look like a victim. At least this episode. I haven't listened to the other ones, so I don't want to talk too much about it. But let's listen to this one. All right, this came out a little over a month ago at this point.
People navigate the complicated world of
Oh, this is her co-host talking.
medicine.
Who is a
And
real...
I'm Anna.
Oh, one more interruption. Her co-host is apparently a real MD. So hopefully she will have some level of scientific rigor to her opinion. And what I mean by that is that she won't accept answers that are clearly factually incorrect. If Anna tells her something that's factually incorrect, I'd like to think that as a doctor, a real doctor, not like me, not a fake doctor like me, I'd like to think a real doctor would hold Anna to a standard of scientific accuracy. Will she? Let's find out.
I'm a creator with my own medical journey, and while Dr. Nance has all of the experience of a doctor, I know what it's like to be a patient with my own medical mystery. And I'm here to ask the questions that you, the audience, are going to be wondering.
This show is all about sharing unique medical stories that are not just fascinating, but could also be helpful, whether you're a patient, a
Hopefully folks
caregiver,
can hear it.
or just someone who loves a good mystery.
Each week, we'll have a guest on the show to share their personal medical story.
Welcome in Late Night Off.
And we'll
You've
unpack
got a
it
wrench
together.
at least.
But today, for the first episode, things are a little bit different.
Exactly, Jarella.
That's right, Anna, because for this first episode, our guest is you.
Yep, I'm in the hot seat today. So if I sound just a little bit nervous, it's because I
You know what I'm doing? Actually, I said after this show, I'm unmodding everybody. And then next show, I'll do like a little, we'll do like a little live thing where anybody who specifically wants to be a mod and who, I'll figure something out.
am.
We're going to talk about it next
representing
episode.
you and your stories. And I also represent people who don't have a medical degree, who aren't going to know all of the lingo and might be a little confused along the way.
Oh, wow.
I've experienced personally the highs and lows and frustrations of navigating the healthcare system. So to be the first person to kick this off kind of feels right.
Anna's story is the perfect way to kick things off. Her story is relatable, full of surprises, and I just feel so lucky she's decided to share it with us.
It's so relatable and full of surprises. Let's hear it.
I just feel lucky to have the opportunity to share it because I wish stories like this were available to me on my journey, and now they will be. My story is about a lot of different things: the stigma plus size bodies face when receiving medical care, the body positive movement, and also being a medical mystery and what that feels like. But that's just a few of the things we'll talk about.
She's a medical mystery, folks. Like being 500 pounds and not able to lose any weight at all is a medical mystery. I'll concede that. She's right about that.
It's just one of the many stories we're going to be telling on this show, and I'm really excited to be doing this with you. We just hope that this show will give people and patients a place to be seen, to find community, and learn from these incredible
Well, thank you
stories
for your
on their
membership,
own
Fallen
medical
Angel, and
journeys.
anybody else who has a membership.
Absolutely. So buckle up, because this first story sets the stage for everything to come. Anna, you ready to dive in?
Good point, Eliza. There needs to be some oversight. I agree with that.
Hello, Dr. Nance.
Hi, Anna. Welcome to the show.
I know. I'm a little nervous because on this first episode, it's me.
I don't know any other podcast where the co-hosts actually interview the other co-host, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a whirlwind. I think that it is important though, because I think it makes sense as to why I'm here, right? Like, obviously you make sense. You're a doctor, but why am I here?
Yeah, why are you here, Anna?
I ask that all the time.
Well, I'd actually love to start with the why. Can you share your intention of sharing your story?
Yeah, so my intention with all of this, and even when this came across my plate as something potentially to do, it really is that I've been on a really long journey, right? And I would say that in some ways I'm not even at the end yet, but every step I've taken forward has significantly improved my life. And for a really long time, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when I, share my story, I was afraid to take the first step because of a lot of the noise surrounding me.
Okay, so let's just parse this a little bit already. She's saying how her journey is a very long journey, but it's been getting better the whole time. Keep in mind, she lost 100 pounds on weight loss drugs, then gained it back. Then she had 40 pounds taken out with liposuction, then gained it back. But this has been a constant improvement every step of the way. It's never gone backward. She also says that she was scared to take this journey. Considering she's a public influencer with 2 million followers, I don't understand what she's scared of. And if she's scared to be an influencer, why is she an influencer? Because that's what your job is as an influencer. It's to share these details in the effort to promote sponsored products. So I don't understand what she's trying to say as far as her being afraid to share her story. She has an Instagram, a YouTube. I mean, she's shared more of her story than anybody I know. I don't know a single person in my life who's shared as much of their life as Anna has. So I find it very questionable if she really believes that she's afraid to share her story, because it just doesn't add up.
And I think if I can encourage just one person to take a step towards feeling better, and whatever that means
Agreed,
for them,
Jarella.
because it is incredibly personal, then it will have been worth it. And I think that women are in a lot of ways built to be a
It's more just an issue that everybody's a mod, and it's at the point where it's like, it's just too many mods. If I was like a new person coming in, I would feel weird seeing everybody being a mod. So I just don't need 30 mods either.
afraid of medicine and doctors and seeking health. And we're sold so many other solutions that aren't really solutions, that I'm here to advocate and speak for the fact that there are doctors out there that care, and it may just take some work to find them.
Well, that's a great way to start. So you mentioned that you started to notice kind of some changes in your body. When were you aware that your body was not the same as everyone else around?
Okay. When were you aware your body was not the same as everybody else around you? I love this whole pretense of your body is not the same as everybody else's. I thought we were all equal. I thought we were all the same. Oh, but no, but we're all different. Okay. Well, that's great. But it's just so funny here, the way that she's saying her body is different than everybody else's. Well, in that case, everybody's body is different, right? Like, whose body is the same as everybody else's? If she's trying to say that her body follows a different set of physics, a different set of chemistry laws, that's a little bit different. If she's trying to say that she's not exactly the same as everybody else, sure, yeah, absolutely. We're all individual people. I can accept that.
So the changes in my body really started to happen around puberty. I just started
I'm
to
glad.
gain
I'm
weight,
glad.
which was kind of unusual because I was always a really active kid. Like they used to call the church doors the Anna doors because I was running in and out of them all the time, causing trouble. And I used to do this dance where I would move my feet really fast because it just had so much energy. So it was puzzling to a lot of people, how was I gaining weight? And the first thing went to like, oh, she must be eating wrong.
Well, considering the only other possibility is, I mean, there's basically three possibilities when you're gaining, and let's not use the euphemism gaining weight. Let's call it gaining fat. Because if she was gaining weight, quote unquote, as if she were getting taller and getting heavier, or if she were getting stronger and heavier, I don't think anybody would have been alarmed. So when she says gaining weight, she means getting fat. When you get fat, there's really only three ways that it can happen. And if there's others, maybe let me know. But the three ways I could think of are overeating, too many calories in. The other one is not enough activity, not burning enough calories. And then the only other one that I can think of is maybe some rare medical condition. But typically that's something that can be diagnosed. Typically that's something, they could figure out. And then that can usually be addressed in some way. 99.99% of the time, it's either too many calories in or not getting enough activity. So if she was getting all of this activity, it's kind of impossible for her to be fat without eating too much.
Right. So I remember around that time.
Welcome
when I
in,
started
Rosebud.
gaining weight,
Sorry you're not a mod
my
yet.
Mom took me to this really
It's a joke.
shady
It's a joke.
doctor in the middle of nowhere. And I remember even as a little kid being like, this place is sketch. And went in, there was like one of those little windows that they pulled open, and I looked inside, and the woman asked me.
So she said she went to a weight loss clinic as a child, and she said, this place is sketch. That's already like odd. Like, why would your parents take her to a sketchy clinic? I don't get that. But
like three questions. Not one of them was my age or my weight or anything like that. It was
they didn't ask your age or your weight. You know why? Because that was on the paper that they got before you came in.
literally like, do you have a heart murmur? Do you have any of these other conditions, diabetes, I think. And this is like at 8 years old. Shut the door, took me in. This older man gave me a speech about why I was awful because I was overweight.
Gave her a speech about why she was awful because she was overweight. This older man traumatized her. And the way that every single thing is constructed to make her look like a victim. And this is not to say that nobody's ever been traumatized by a doctor or by somebody being cruel or mean. That happens. It does happen. But Anna is just so special and unique that every experience she has is either some terrible, horrible trauma, or it's some incredible, life-changing, beautiful revelation that her whole life is now going to be better. Everything is, she never just has a regular doctor's appointment. She can never just be like, oh, I went to the doctor, it was okay. I went to the doctor and he traumatized me. I went to the doctor and he saved my life. It's everything is so dramatic with her. She is the drama of the drama queens.
And then he wrote
Queen
me
of the
a
drama
prescription
queens.
for what I now know was fen-phen.
So they gave her a prescription for fen-phen as a child. That sounds irresponsible. But again, I wouldn't blame the doctors as much as the parents in this case, because I blame the doctors a little bit too. But first of all, I'm questioning this whole story. What doctor is giving fen-phen to an 8-year-old? How fat was she? Like, can you give us some more details, Anna? Because this whole story sounds a little sus.
So at 8 years old, I started taking fen-phen. And
they gave her fen-phen at 8?
Wild.
Fen-phen is a stimulant that was a popular kind of diet.
All right, fen-phen, for anybody not aware, it was a stimulant diet medication, and it contains some amphetamines in there. I'm not sure exactly of the breakdown chemically, but it was a stimulant. It was meant to curb your appetite. But I do believe, though, that it did cause some side effects in some people. So it was taken off the market because it did cause some heart problems, I believe. I don't know exactly the circumstances, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but I did hear that.
Diet drug in the 90s, but it had significant side effects, mainly cardiac problems. So it is no longer.
Yeah, this whole story is sus.
Obesity.
Let's just say that's to look back at that.
They didn't bother. Yeah, exactly. They didn't bother to get her a nutritionist. They just took her straight to a clinic for diet drugs. That does not sound like what parent, when their child has a weight problem, instead of saying, maybe we should try changing their diet. Maybe they should get some more activity. Maybe we should take them to a nutritionist. Take her straight to a weight loss clinic and put her on drugs. That whole story is sus. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the whole thing is just feels very odd. And that the doctor first gave her a lecture about how bad she was and then put her on drugs. This sounds like something out of a movie.
Now, and even to have had to do some things.
Yes, very similar. Very similar.
That, because now what we know what fen-phen can do to the body, there were concerns about heart issues when I was pursuing other things down the road. So I don't know why that was okay.
It wasn't okay.
I don't know why it was so casual.
Anna, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say if Anna's story is true, if this is actually a true story, I think her parents and the doctor did her a disservice. I want to go out on a limb and say that. I think that the parents should have never taken her to that type of a place in the first place. But the doctor did not, I think he was irresponsible to give her such strong drugs as a first response. I think that especially at that young age, that's why I find it so hard to believe. But if this is true, you were done a disservice, Anna. And that is, I do agree with that.
I think I'm still coming to terms with why my parents thought that was okay to do. But regardless of
Good point, Anna.
I was put on that.
Okay, so far 1 point for Anna. If this story is true, and she lies a lot, but I'm gonna just say that okay, this one's true. Just give her, just whatever. We'll hypothesize this is truth. If this is truth, she does come out looking like she was mistreated a little bit here. So I can respect that.
And I lost some weight, but not really. And I just remember during that period of my life that every once in a while I would get to eat normal food. So my mom, I remember, threw everything away in the house, like had this big menagerie where like everything that.
So her mom threw away everything in the house. So this wasn't, okay. So this makes me think that they didn't just take her to the clinic as the first step. This makes me think this was a whole process. And like Jamie's saying, she probably doesn't even remember it clearly. Probably not. Well, let's just let Anna finish telling the story. I don't want to get too much.
In my opinion, at the
argue
time,
too much.
Tasted Good was in the garbage. We were left with like brown rice, flavorless chicken, shredded wheat, and vegetables. That's it.
So she was basically going to eat like a bodybuilder and get really healthy. And now, I don't want to suggest that you should go on an extreme diet or you should put your kid on an extreme diet. But that is, I mean, if the food was cooked properly, there's no reason why brown rice and chicken has to taste bad, right? Like you could put a little bit of gravy on there or something. You could put some spice on it. I mean, I don't really like brown rice, but brown rice and chicken can be okay if you cook it well. Same thing with, what was the other thing she said? Whole wheat bread or something. But the point is, healthy does not have to equal bad. The way she said they threw away all the good food and they kept only the healthy stuff is just such, not to be rude, but that's fatso talk. That's defeatist fat person talk. Talking about good food as opposed to junk food. That's junk food they threw out, or they threw out the unhealthy food.
And I remember, and I have this very vivid memory of when I was about, I want to say 10 or 11. I went to my friend Nikki S's house, and her mom made me a cheeseburger. And I remember sitting there eating that cheeseburger, being like, this is the best thing I've ever had in my entire life.
So one of her greatest memories is eating a cheeseburger at 10 years old. This tells me this girl had an absolute obsession with food. She had an obsession with food as a child, because I certainly overate as a kid. I ate way too much. I was a fat kid. I wasn't like 300 pounds fat or anything like that, but I was a chubby kid. I overate. My parents overfed me. They put me on diets sometimes, and to be fair, I don't think those diets were I think those diets were helpful. But I think that was unhelpful was that whenever the diet was over, we went back to eating like crap again. We never maintained the healthy, it was too extreme. We went from eating junk food to eating diet, losing the weight, going back to the junk food. And that was not a healthy way but I don't want to make this about me. The point I'm trying to make about Anna is she's talking about when she was 10, her happiest moment as a child that she can remember was being given a cheeseburger by her friend's mom.
This cheeseburger, wow. And this like cheese, it wasn't even probably that good of a cheeseburger, but because I'd eaten such terrible food for like a while.
Like we're talking In-N-Out cheeseburger or
Yeah, like it was probably like McDonald's cheeseburger, but I just remember being like, oh my God. I was like, my life has forever changed. Like music played, lights flashed. Like it was like this amazing thing. And I didn't die. No, but
I'm surprised you didn't, from the pleasure.
No issues. And I just had a normal day. And I remember that up until that point, I had a really weird relationship between pleasing my parents and losing weight. Like,
I'm interested to hear this now, because I know her mother was very obese, died from obesity related issues.
I felt every time I got on the scale that I was a little bit of a failure because I wasn't losing as quickly as they thought I should have been losing taking fen-phen.
Well, hold on a second. I love how she never gives any actual numbers. I felt like a failure because I wasn't losing as quickly as they thought. Well, did you lose anything? Did you actually lose any weight at all? I mean, is that why you felt like a failure? Because you were supposed to be losing and you were actually gaining because you were lying about what you were eating? Or did you feel like a failure because, your parents had unreasonable expectations and they expected you to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks? Like, can we have some kind of numbers? Like, who was the unreasonable person here? I mean, to be fair, at that age, she might not remember, but she remembers everything else with perfect detail. So I'm surprised she can't remember any of the actual numbers when she can remember every other detail with such clarity.
But I was starving and still very active. So what ended up happening is life was just kind of, bleak. And so I stopped.
I
would
did hear
say
that
in a little bit, I
fen-phen
stopped
can
being as
cause that.
active because I had no freaking energy.
Hold on.
And
So
my
she
body-
says now that because of the diet, she had to stop being active because she had no energy. How little were they feeding you? How strict was this diet? And you also want us to believe that you had no energy because of your diet, but you were on amphetamines. She was on prescription amphetamines. Anybody who's not aware, amphetamines are much stronger than caffeine. They are a stimulant, and they will have you bouncing off the walls if you are not somebody who's already taking them regularly. If you don't have a tolerance to them, if you just take one, so maybe she had taken them for so long at that point, and her body had gotten used to them. But even so, it's hard to believe that she was taking amphetamines as a child on amphetamines with no energy because they weren't feeding her enough. What was a starvation? What about your body fat? Your normal people, their body fat gives them energy when they don't get enough food.
started to change because I wasn't the same active person I was before. And I
Exactly.
started to put on weight instead of losing it. And I think at this point,
Hippie East, I'm sorry to hear that. And I do believe it's possible. It's just unfortunate that your parents put you on drugs at 8 years old. I don't want to criticize your parents, but it's really the parents are doing that's so extreme at 8 years old to put you on drugs. I feel sorry for you that you had to go through all that. And I do, accept that it's possible. I know, they put kids on other kinds of drugs, right? Welcome in, Nutty. Yeah, it is possible they put her on the fen-phen, but I do question that she had no energy. Because if she was on the fen-phen, how come she
A
didn't have
lot
any
of
energy?
the articles and stuff that came out about fen-phen, we all got off of it because it wasn't legal anymore. So basically, I gained a bunch of weight and I kind of just accepted it. In my 20s, I moved on from my parents. I
Yeah, welcome in, Nutty.
moved into a really amazing group of friends. And I think that every friend group goes through this. I mean, I hope they still.
So now she just skipped ahead from age 10 to age 20 something. Skipped a lot in between there. She went from being a chubby 10-year-old on fen-phen to now she's in her 20s and in college. A lot got
Don't
glossed
go
over
through
there.
it, but back when I was in my 20s, everybody went through it, which was like the collective culture where girls got together and dieted together. So we did the thing that everybody seemed to do, which was join Weight Watchers, right? We all got together, we'd go to our group meetings together, we would support each other.
But let me also make that clear. Even if I maybe am a little bit skeptical of Anna's details of Anna's story, I do not support putting a child on strong drugs for weight loss, or really any drugs for weight loss. I do believe in the value of healthy eating and putting, and cleaning up a kid's diet. I think that's a good thing, to clean up their diet, get them on some healthier foods. But you don't want to have like a crazy strict diet for a young kid. Even if they are overweight, you don't want to put them on a crazy strict diet. You just want to get them onto some healthy eating
We'd share recipes, we'd
without drugs.
weigh in, and honestly, I built my friendships around losing weight. And that's a really weird dynamic, right? Where that success in losing weight was also like a success of friendship.
But hold on, did you build your relationship around sharing in the effort of losing weight? Was it about the fitness of losing weight, working out together, cooking meals together, sharing, the struggles together? Oh, it was tough the other day. I went and I worked out. I didn't really feel like it, but I did it. Supporting each other? Was it that kind of community of weight loss? Or was it more, hey, I lost all this, and just, trying to lie to each other to try to make it look like you lost more than some, like, I guess what I'm saying is, was it a supportive weight loss community where you were trying to get healthier? Or was it a negative weight loss community where it was some kind of like a ego trip psychological thing?
It doesn't work for you as simple as that. It's almost like you're a failure in
Absolutely.
your friendship.
There's no need for
dynamic,
drugs for a young kid.
which is something that honestly, I don't know if I realized until I just started talking about this part of it. But like, I think as we fast forward and I stopped losing weight, I lost about 100 pounds that way, just by literally getting active as part of this Weight Watchers group. And I would
So she lost 100 pounds in her 20s as part of Weight Watchers. If that's true, that's fantastic. Again, we have to take everything Anna says with a grain of salt, but I think that's a fantastic story. I think that's good that she lost 100 pounds on Weight Watchers. I think Weight Watchers is a good program. Obviously, it's not perfect, but I think that it's a program that has a proven record of success for a lot of people. So it absolutely can work, and that it worked for Anna, I think is great.
a Soul Cycle with these girls.
So what happened?
I would run to Soul Cycle, do 1 to 2 Soul Cycle classes, and run back. I started walking to work, so I would walk from Brooklyn to Midtown Manhattan, which is about a 4-mile walk, and
Okay, so I think this is the mythical period where Anna was actually walking a few miles at a time, because she always talks about how she used to walk miles, and we've never seen it on her YouTube channel. So if it ever really did happen, it probably happened in her 20s, in this period of time that she's talking about now, after she lost that 100 pounds. She probably was relatively fit at that point, at least compared to where she is now. I'm interested to know, when did she lose that I would think of the right word for it, that motivation to be healthy? Because to lose 100 pounds through Weight Watchers and exercise, it takes a lot of motivation. And I just don't know where it all went.
would walk there and back. And I started just becoming really, really active. Again, I never was like a binge eater or an overeater. So it kind of was like,
Thank you very
my
much,
activity
Jamie.
just
Yes,
jumped
please.
up, and that's where the weight went. But then it stopped. I had lost weight and gained weight before, But this was very different because I was gaining weight while still maintaining a really healthy lifestyle. So I was still going to spin class, I was still running, I was still
Okay.
eating healthy, I was still walking to and from work. So it didn't make sense that I
Now, this is where her story starts to get very suspicious. Up to this point, everything she said, whether it was true or not, it was certainly within the realm of possibility. It's possible to be prescribed drugs at a young age. I don't think it's common, but it clearly does happen, as Hippie Easter reported. And, and I've heard of kids being prescribed plenty of other types of drugs. So it's not common, but it does happen. As far as the doctor making her feel bad, I don't know if that happened or not. But even if it did, maybe it did. As far as the 100-pound weight loss in her 20s, maybe that happened too. But now is where it starts to get a little bit unbelievable, because now she's claiming that the behavior which allowed her to lose 100 pounds, the exercise, the dieting, the Weight Watchers, the walking to work, the soul cycling twice a week, she alleges that she continued all of this, but the weight started to come back. That's questionable. That is a very questionable statement.
was gaining weight back.
Let's
honestly
rewind that just a
didn't
little
know what to think. I felt very cheated. So I would walk from Brooklyn to Midtown Manhattan, which is about a 4-mile walk, and I would walk, lost weight and gained weight before. But this was very different because I was gaining weight while still maintaining a really healthy lifestyle. So I was
That is a questionable statement. Gaining weight while maintaining a very healthy lifestyle. What does she mean by gaining weight? A couple pounds maybe of muscle mass? Or does she mean like putting on pounds and pounds of fat and her clothes don't fit anymore?
still going to spin class, I was still running, I was still eating healthy, I was still walking to and from work. So it didn't make sense that I was gaining weight
That's a
back.
fair point. That's a
I
fair point.
honestly didn't know.
But did she have
what to
ADD though?
think. I felt very cheated.
We don't know. We don't
felt
really
very
know.
angry because I felt like I did everything right, and this is my predicament. So like,
Ooh, that's a
what
good point, Jarella. That's something that's actually a very interesting theory. That she had the motivation for that period of time, and then when she lost it, because she never really made the changes to her lifestyle, she was just relying on that motivation that she had. Once that motivation was gone, then the weight came. That's actually a very good theory there.
what the hell? What the hell? And I did start to feel, and I don't think I've ever admitted this to myself until
Yeah,
this
may have
podcast,
burned
which is
herself
a little
out.
bit wild. But I think I started to isolate myself because I was embarrassed that I
Fantastic.
wasn't able to keep up with my friends.
I
who
love
were
to hear
making-
that, Nutty.
Already crying. Who are making all of these amazing
That's-
changes in their life.
That is awesome, because that's what I don't want to start kissing your butt or anything, but I think that's a good move, because a lot of parents they overreact, or maybe they don't react at all, and they just let the kid keep gaining weight until the point where it becomes a problem. So I'm really glad to hear that you figured out a good solution, it sounds like.
And I was making the same changes, but not seeing the same success. So you begin to build this mental
Gotta
capacity.
keep those
of,
squirrels
like,
healthy.
I must be lying to myself. I must be a failure. I don't want to have the conversation about why isn't it working. And I don't even know if my friends judged me in that way, but I judged myself in that way because I built my entire community and friendship around managing weight. And
So now it's starting to come together. She started gaining weight, and her community that she had built for herself was built around weight loss. All of her friends were people she worked out with, I guess, people she dieted with. And when she started gaining weight, she couldn't admit that she wasn't dieting anymore, because that was what the entire community was built around. So instead, she pretended that she had some weird condition, that even though she was still dieting, I promise I'm dieting, I'm still exercising, I promise you, but I'm gaining weight now for some reason. I don't know why. That's the vibe I'm getting, where she didn't want to admit to people that she was no longer participating in the activities as she was. And again, this is all my hypothesis. I could be wrong, but that's what I think was happening there. Let's hear a little more.
and I couldn't be successful in that friendship because I wasn't losing weight anymore. I even felt that way partially in my job. Like it's wild to think, when I'm really honest with myself, how much that inability to achieve that goal really messed me up.
No problem, Nutty. Thank you for coming in.
I think which obesity as a medical
Yeah.
term, right, and label carries an unwarranted moral judgment to it that does not apply to other medical conditions.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't. And if it does, that's one of the times where I do agree with reducing stigmas, as some people would put it. I don't think that there should be any shame in saying you're obese. I think that it's good to be healthy, but I don't think admitting the truth is inherently a bad thing. I don't think that we should lie to ourselves, and I don't think we should. I don't like that people feel the need to lie to themselves. I don't like that.
I think that there is a lot of stigma about obesity, and I think there's a lot of stigma about bodies in general and what visual cues they give us. So regardless of whether
Yep.
you're plus size or you use a wheelchair, people are going to assume an inordinate amount of things about you based on that visual picture. And as much as you may be different than that visual picture, you are never given the benefit of the doubt. In fact, you're always climbing back from a negative assumption.
I mean, I guess that some people may be more judgmental than others, but I don't think that that's something that, I mean, it's something you have to kind of just, I hate to say it, but you can't let that affect you to the point where it impacts you. You have to not let, other people's bad attitudes harm you, right? I mean, I know that's easier to say than do, but that's something I think is important. And Anna says she's the confidence queen, so that shouldn't be a problem for her.
The hardest part about not losing weight for me is that I didn't know what else to fix. And I think the automatic reaction to me was just to do more. But then what happens is you do more, and I would eat less and less. I would work out more and more. And I would say, honestly,
this is what I have to call into question. Working out more, eating less, and you're still gaining weight. What is this? I'm glad they call this the medical detectives, because Anna is a medical mystery.
Running to SoulCycle, doing 2 classes and running back is probably not healthy behavior.
How is that not healthy? That's absolutely healthy. What's wrong with running and exercising? How many miles were you running, I guess? If you were running 10 miles, maybe that's a bit much. But I don't think you were doing more than what a person who's very healthy would do.
Just not. And there was one point in my life where I would have been proud of that, would have been like, look at all the exercise I was doing. But the reality is like, I was trying to compensate for what my body wasn't doing. And I thought, well, maybe if I just
She was trying to compensate for what her body wasn't doing. That doesn't even make sense. Your body wasn't doing this. None of this adds up now. Her story has gone from, possible to now being completely unbelievable at this point.
pushed harder, maybe if I just did more, it would change. And then when it didn't, I really did feel like a failure. I also felt like I was delusional. I think that's a really good word for my whole entire journey. It's like,
let's hear that again. A good word to describe her journey is delusional.
he wasn't doing. And I thought, well, maybe if I just pushed harder, maybe if I just did more, it would change. And then when it didn't, I really did feel like a failure. I also felt like I was delusional. I think that's a really good word for my whole entire journey. It's like,
it is.
Maybe I'm lying to myself.
You are.
Right? Like maybe I am
lying to
eating
your
all
viewers.
of these things. Maybe my calorie counting is off. Maybe I'm not.
Maybe it actually, hold on. I love this part here. Anna acknowledges that maybe, just maybe, she might be she might not be right. There's a possibility that maybe she's doing something wrong. Let's hear what she does when she realizes that she could possibly be wrong.
Exercising as hard as I think I am. Maybe I'm not going fast enough on that bike. So it becomes this constant internal, like, what can I do more? Until you just break down and give up. And that's essentially what happened. I just finally was like, this is too freaking much. I'm done.
So I guess my question this raises the question then. So if you were exercising more and eating less and gaining more, what happened when you went back to eating normally? Did you stop gaining? What happened when you went back to eating more and exercising less? Did your weight stop going up then? Like what happened? I don't understand. So she wants us to believe that she was exercising more and eating less and her weight was going up. So what happened when you stopped doing that?
Started to feel just unconnected to my friends. So I dove into work. I would work constantly. I would sleep in the office. And in line with that, we were testing a new piece of software that was for content management for social media. We needed to test that software. I was like, well, I'll just make some Instagram content. We'll see if that does well. I don't really care.
So notice
It's all
she
about
never
the
actually addressed, notice she never answered the question. She said that she was exercising more and eating less and she was gaining more weight and it was terrible. And then finally she burned out and she stopped. So did she stop gaining weight or not though? That she never answered that. This mysterious weight gain that could not, that should not, that when you should have been losing because of all the exercise and the diet, when you were actually gaining, what happened? Well, then I threw myself into work. No, but what happened with the weight? Well, I threw myself into work. We were testing some new software. No, but what happened to this medical mystery? This is where her host should stop her and should say, hold on, Anna, before you go on to that, we got to explain here. So what happened with that mysterious weight gain? Did it stop? Did it continue? What happened with that? Instead, the doctor just, whatever, it's cool.
And anyone who knows me knows that I am a somewhat recovering workaholic. I'm still working on it, but it is who I am. So I became really good at regularly posting, at trying different things because I was trying to test this software that helped brands and companies do that. Well, I worked really hard, and because of that, I inadvertently grew a following on social media, just trying to test new technology. And it started off kind of slow. I remember I had like 10,000 followers, maybe in the first couple months. And I was like blown away by that. I was like, I've made it big. But apologizing for it is enough of a reason to hate me. And
let's go back. I missed
have
something.
a say in my life for good.
I can't believe I missed that. I fast forwarded thinking there wasn't going to be anything good. And then she actually said something interesting.
50K, and then it's 100K, and then it's, oh my God, 200,000 people follow me. But that also means that there is a lot of people who feel like they have a say in my life for good and for bad.
I love how she says that. And then she acts like she's not okay with that. But yet she highlights every positive comment and she will delete all of the negative comments, keep all the positive comments, but she wants to act like she doesn't like that people are able to influence her. No, she loves that. She just doesn't like when she disagrees with them.
Being in a bigger body is very polarizing, and sometimes that's
being in a bigger body. Stop disconnecting yourself from your body. You're not in a bigger body. You are a bigger body.
Just enough that just existing in a bigger body.
You're not existing in a bigger body. You exist as a bigger body.
And
you exist as a bigger body.
I was a nobody, and all of a sudden I was like enemy number one to some people. And I think that's when I noticed, actually, if I have to be incredibly honest, the time where I realized my life had been changed by this forever.
There's only two kinds of people, I think, who really don't like Anna. One of them are people who just don't like people who are fat. Whether it's right or wrong, those people do exist. That's one group, probably the smaller group. The larger group, in my opinion, are people who don't like hypocrites, people who don't like dishonesty, people who don't like when a slick-talking con woman takes advantage of her audience's gullibility. I think that is the majority of people who dislike Anna.
I posted a picture of myself in a swimsuit. Just a normal picture, just me on a beach. And
just a normal picture. I bet her ass was hanging out. I bet she barely even had anything covered. I bet it looked like a serving of mashed potatoes.
The company asked me if they could use it to just repost. And again, at this point, I didn't know anything about making money. I wasn't making any money. And I was like, sure, you can repost this. I don't care. They ended up using it. It ended up getting in the wrong hands, and it became...
It is sad. But I don't think that's a lot of people. I hope it's not.
People saying that a plus size person should not be used in advertising for a product like a razor. And it ended up to someone doing a podcast about whether or not plus size people should be in advertising.
Is that what it was? It about plus size people in advertising, or was it about your ad? I'd be interested to hear the details on this, because I've criticized Anna specifically countless times. I have no issue with plus size people in advertising. I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think they should be advertising obesity, but if you want to show different sizes of clothes, great. Nothing wrong with that. No reason why you can't have people of different sizes in commercials. I think that's very different from glorifying obesity, though.
It was a very, very popular podcast. I'm not going to name it specifically, but they had a long discussion about whether I should be seen. or whether or not people like me should be seen. And it led to me actually
That is a
getting attacked
fantastic
on a
thing.
sidewalk.
Gives you, lets you
And
take back
it's
control
part of the reason I
and a
left
lot
New
of your
York.
health.
So I think that's when
Love
it
that.
clicked, that I was in a lot of ways powerful, because if I could make somebody this angry, then like that's pretty powerful. But also I had to think about my life in a very different way. I had to protect myself, and
You had to protect yourself. Well, protect yourself from high blood pressure, from high blood sugar. What do you mean protect yourself? Protect yourself from fall risk? Absolutely. I'm glad that she's finally taking it seriously. Anna, I don't know what woke you up to the need to protect yourself from things like falls and high blood pressure, but I'm glad you're finally taking it seriously.
I had to learn to navigate in this world where people knew who I was and had an opinion about me.
Oh, she means protect yourself from harmful opinions. Oh, yeah, those dangerous opinions that hurt her so much.
I also started to get very involved in the body positivity movement, and this opened up a whole different world where my
Welcome
weight
in,
was
Meg.
seen in just a
Hope
very
you're having a great
different
day.
way for the first time in my life.
We're doing a Glitter
So
Laser
now I
special
have this
today.
beautiful place in social media where people were like, "You're beautiful, you're special," and we were talking about bigger bodies in a different way.
Oh, and let me do a little recap also for Meg and anybody else who's just come in. Today, the special about glitter and lasers. We started off with 2 videos. One of them was showing some of her history with working out and how she essentially never really had any idea what she was doing in the gym. The only workout video she ever made, she wasn't able to complete any of the exercises. I think that demonstrates her lack of transparency. And then the other video, which I showed, was her drunk in a Target, trashing the display, knocking over, well, not knocking over, but undressing the mannequins and buying, 10,000 calories of protein candies. I think that just shows how abrasive she can be. So now we're going to talk about Anna's medical history, and that's what this podcast is about. So we started off with her talking about how she was gaining weight despite all the exercise and dieting she was doing. And then she stopped exercising and dieting and never explained whether she stopped gaining weight. That medical mystery has just been left unanswered. But that's where we are right now in the podcast. And now she's talking about her online presence.
I had lived in this world where I had learned to accept
Then you're in the right place,
negative
Meg.
preconceived opinions of me and rise above them, which is again a great skill, but
Enjoy.
not super healthy or amazing to live in. And now was presented with a world where I didn't have to prove anything, or at least it felt like I didn't have to prove anything.
Oh, this is a very telling statement. When she realized she no longer had to prove anything. She realized she could just say whatever she wants. Doesn't really need to prove anything. All she needs is enough likes on a post, and that kind of proves itself, doesn't it? So Anna had a revelation that she no longer needed to tell the truth.
And that was, for lack of a better word, addictive. We were
It was
right in
addictive. It was addictive when she realized she could just say whatever she wanted, and that nobody would ever know the real truth. Let's let her give her a little rope to bury herself. That mixed metaphor. Let's give her a little rope to hang herself here. Let's go back 15 seconds.
but not super healthy or amazing to live in. And now was presented with a world where I didn't have to prove anything, or at least it felt like I didn't have to prove anything. And that was, for lack of a better word, addictive. We were right in that crux of body positivity coming to light. So
this is just such a self-own here, where she admits that when she realized she no longer had to prove anything she says, it became addictive. And she just started to really enjoy not having to prove herself anymore and being able to just say whatever the heck she wanted to, knowing that people couldn't actually question her effectively because she could delete any comments, dissenting comments.
So the acceptance of a bigger body was on the way.
Welcome
of
in,
being
Empress Chavity.
more
Good to
accepted
see you.
versus less. And so there was a lot of advocacy. There was a lot of supportive people. Don't get me wrong, still bad people
Oh, I
out there
understand
saying
that.
mean things. That is the internet. But it was definitely a better place.
Proud of you, though.
And that space gave me hope in a lot of ways. Hope that I could learn to live in this
Great point.
body and not necessarily constantly be.
Alcohol is so fattening. Anybody who's not aware, alcohol, a can of beer has more calories than a can of Coca-Cola, significantly more. A can of beer can have like 180 or 190 calories, 200 calories if it's really strong beer. A can of Coca-Cola is 140 calories. So anyway, so just get a can of light beer, unless it's the ultra light, and they do make like even the ultra light beer is like 80, 90 calories, but a regular light beer like a Bud Light is still like 120 calories. A can of Coca-Cola is 140. So just, yeah, alcohol is fattening. And whiskey, a shot of whiskey is like 150 calories, I think.
Focused
A
on
glass of wine
changing
is like
that body.
160.
And if the body positive community helped me stop measuring my value in a size and helped me start appreciating what my body was capable of. And I will always be grateful for that.
What does that even mean? I wish she would elaborate a little bit more. It let her appreciate it made her stop appreciating. What was that? How did she say that again?
Positive community helped me stop measuring my value in a size.
Okay, I think that's not a bad thing. In fact, I think that's a good thing. I think that's one of the few good things about the whole body positivity movement. And I think that if it was just limited to that, I don't think it would be so bad. I don't think people should judge themselves based on a size, because that varies a lot. Some people are bigger, some people are smaller, some people are built, shaped differently. I do value health. I think health has value. And, if people, vanity, all that, that's a whole separate ballgame. But I don't think people should wrap up their worth in just a number or a weight or a size. I think that's something that people should get away from. And I think most of us are in agreement on that.
And helped me start appreciating what my body was capable of. And I will always be grateful for that. That said,
fair enough.
My
fair enough.
time in that community did.
Scientifically, it's not the same. It's not exactly the same as sugar. Scientifically, and alcohol is different. But as far as calories go, it's a lot of calories. Think of it like sugar. You'll be okay.
Cause some harm. And I think that that's really hard to say, because I don't want people to feel betrayed or hurt or like I'm biting the hand that fed me. But there's a lot of things in that community that
okay, alcohol is a sugar. Alcohol is its own
the
thing.
Doctor, or even doing basic everyday things.
All right, we're not going to have a science debate, because I can't moderate it. I don't know enough science to look this up. I am not a real doctor, but look, we can all agree on this. Alcohol is a lot of calories, regardless of whether it's sugar or not. There's a lot of calories in there, so be careful drinking it.
It's scary. There's a lot of discussion about how the medical community doesn't support fat bodies, which is true in a lot of instances. But it doesn't mean that all medical professionals are out to get plus size people.
What a conspiratorial mindset. It doesn't mean all medical professionals are out to get plus size people. Well, are you suggesting that a lot of them are? Is she seriously suggesting there's a percentage of medical professionals out to, quote, get plus size people? What are they trying to get them? Trying to get them to lose weight? That's probably true. There's a percentage of medical professionals who want to get plus size people to lose weight. I think that is a fair statement. Let's hear this again.
A lot of discussion about how the medical community doesn't support fat bodies, which is...
It doesn't support fat bodies. Well, it supports fat people, but it wants them to lose weight to be healthier. It doesn't want to encourage them to stay fat. No, it doesn't support fat bodies, and I don't think it should. I mean, I think if somebody's fat, it doesn't make them worth less. But I don't think we should be encouraging people to stay heavy. I don't think that's a good idea at all.
It's true in a lot of instances, but it doesn't mean that all medical professionals are out to get plus size people. Also, there was a lot of discussion about it's okay to take a break. It's okay to be tired.
Exactly.
Which, again, a valuable insight into life. But I began to feel like, being tired is just part of a bigger body.
Hold on a second. Being tired is part of being in a bigger body. I remember when I first got back into working out, even though I was working out a lot and I was getting stronger, I would have trouble catching my breath. Not until I got my weight down would I no longer have trouble catching my breath. Now, is it possible I could have got my fitness up and kept my weight up? Maybe to an extent. I could have put on more muscle mass, but there's an upper limit. Like if you look at a bodybuilder, he weighs 275 pounds with no body fat. He also has trouble breathing. Because once you get to a certain body weight, it's your body has troubles, it just doesn't work as well. Again, I'm not a doctor. There's chemical elements, there's physical elements, there's obviously a ton of biological elements. So yeah, I think it's extremely common for people who are very heavy to have a lack of stamina. I certainly know I did, and most people I speak to who are very heavy have acknowledged that when they lose weight, one of the things they notice is their stamina improves. I noticed it has for me.
Being exhausted, being in pain, these things are just normal because I am plus size. So it began to write a script for me that this was just my reality, and this is the reality I had to live in. And
Exactly.
I just got,
It's dumb.
for lack of a better word, shitty cards. And
Okay,
nothing I
this is such defeatist talk. I know I'm going slow. We're probably gonna have to do like a second episode. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get the whole podcast in today. But let's just go back a little bit because I'm enjoying this. I think we're having a good
size. So it began to write a script for me that this was just my reality, and this is the reality I had to live in. And
I love it. She says this is the reality I had to live in: being exhausted and being in pain because she's overweight. I love how even the idea of possibly losing weight to correct some of that never even entered into the equation.
I just got, for lack of a better word, shitty cards.
Okay, so I'm not gonna. She got crappy cards. I'm gonna censor myself. Anna's claiming that she was just born with bad genetics and she just has to live with it. And to be fair, I don't want to be negative, but there actually is an element of genetics. Like some people naturally are gonna be more lean. Some people are naturally going to put on muscle better. Some people are going to be taller. Some people are going to have an uphill battle. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means it's going to be a little bit tougher. Some people, if you have enough medical conditions, you might not be able to overcome all of them. So I don't want to lump everybody together. But the typical person is going to be able to have some control over their body weight to a greater or lesser extent. Whether you're skinny and you want to get a little stronger, you want to get your weight up, or whether you're heavier and you want to get your body fat down, it might be tougher for some, but you typically are able to influence your body weight in a positive direction, whether it's to gain healthy weight or to lose fat. I'm pretty lucky in the sense that I'm probably somewhere in the middle as far as difficulty losing. Like I get heavy, but if I diet, it comes off. I thank God I'm not somebody who, really, really struggles. Because I know that happens to some.
And there's nothing I could do.
This is a great segue into a question about
Good point.
when you started to think.
Because everything other than the body, Anna was blessed with a 2-parent household, plenty of income, plenty of resources. She never went hungry as a child. Her parents seemed to be very loving. Yes, it was not perfect. I'm not saying nobody has a perfect situation, but for the most part, she did have a pretty good life. Like, and I'm not here to play, judge and jury on who has had a good life and who hasn't, and who is allowed to complain and who isn't. But Anna's had a pretty good life for the most part.
About perhaps your size as a more medical issue, if there were something else beyond just your size that was causing you to feel tired and everything that you just described.
I'm going to be really,
most people fall somewhere in the
candid
middle.
about all of this.
Some
This is a
people,
podcast, so we're just going to be real, right? I hadn't had a normal poop
What?
for years.
What? Why have you not had well, first of all, what does she even mean by a normal poop? And why is she even like this is starting to become TMI. So trigger warning, scat. If you don't want to hear about Anna's pooping, well, actually, I don't think anybody wants to hear about Anna's pooping. So you're just gonna have to tough it out with me.
And it was beginning to affect my ability to do basic everyday things.
This is TMI right now, but we're gonna keep going.
And I would get so exhausted on top of this. Sorry.
She would get so exhausted from taking these poops that what?
I just said the poop because I was like, that was the thing that like broke the camel's back. But it would also be things like I would go and have a great day. Like I did all of these things. I'm like, man, my body's amazing. I can do all of these.
That's so crazy. How all of a sudden her body is amazing. A minute ago, she was dealt, quote, shitty cards. and was just cursed to live with pain and exhaustion. And now all of a sudden, my body's amazing. Like, she can't make up her mind whether she's crippled with disability or whether that her body is amazing and she's so brave and strong. She keeps vacillating from one to the other.
Things. And then I would pass out. And I would physically be unable to leave my bed.
Okay, so she would pass out and be physically unable to leave her bed. Was she taking weight loss drugs at any portion of this time? Because if she was taking stimulant drugs, that would explain why she felt so full of energy and then all of a sudden she would just crash. Because if you're taking stimulants, like Adderall or Vyvanse for binge eating, that will have that effect where you will crash when it wears off and you will just sleep like for a day. So is that what she's describing? She gives us TMI on the poop, but she doesn't even bother to tell us what medication she's on.
Like, everything in my body would just break down. And I would be stuck that way for 2 to 3 days. I would have gastrointestinal issues. I sometimes would be vomiting. I would be violently ill. I started struggling to get out of bed just in general. And I kept pushing myself physically because around this point, I started to feel in my body really broken down. So
I hope that she's going somewhere with her poops, because why did she have to tell us about how she never takes a normal poop unless it has something to do with this story? If the reason why she was bedbound and tired was because she spent all of her energy pooping, I guess that is like a really interesting story in some ways.
as I'm in this community, I just kept thinking, oh, the reason my knee hurts is because I'm fatter. The reason
This is the first logical thought Anna's ever had. My knee hurts because I'm too fat. Yes, it does. Anna, you're right. You know why else it hurts? Because you have bad posture. Because your knees are totally stiff when you walk and when you exercise. So along with being really fat, your knees are taking way too much stress. So yeah, you're right. Your knees hurt because you're too fat and you put too much stress on them. But you're actually 100% correct.
my ankle hurts is because I'm fatter.
Yes, yes. Oh my goodness. It's not a medical mystery. Anna actually has a good understanding of her situation. I misunderstood.
The reason my thighs hurt are because I'm fatter.
Anna, where did this self-awareness come from?
The reason I'm tired is because I'm fatter.
Is everybody else hearing this? Like what is the gotcha moment? And when she tells us, gotcha though, none of this is true.
The reason when I stand up, I almost pass out is because I'm fatter.
This is every single thing we've ever described. This is every single problem associated with obesity. Anna has every common problem associated with being super morbidly obese, apparently.
All of these things just became
Don't forget your high blood pressure.
related to the weight, and that's just how my body was. And so
Don't forget the sleep apnea also.
I initially pretended like a lot of those things didn't exist. I think when it
So she pretended a lot of those things didn't exist. So in other words, she has knee pain, she has ankle pain, she has pain in her hips, she gets tired easily, she feels like she's going to pass out when she stands up. But she denied all of this for a long time. Interesting.
became really clear, I have one moment I remember that is the moment where I realized I couldn't live like this anymore.
Welcome in, Kat.
in Hawaii. We were filming swimsuits.
I'm
or
glad it
something,
didn't happen to you.
You know, as one does as a creator. And I couldn't walk in the sand. It hurt so bad.
That
And
is a
there's a
reasonable
video
theory,
of
too.
me somewhere, I'd burn it if I could, where I fall into the sand and I just cry.
So she was so out of shape that she wasn't able to walk out of the ocean. And anybody who's ever gone swimming in the ocean knows that, especially if there's a strong current, it can be tiring to swim in the ocean because the current pulls you. So you're swimming against the current, you're standing against the current, you're swimming against the waves. If you spend an hour in the ocean, even just kind of standing, the current will pull you away from the beach sometimes. And then you have to swim back toward the beach. And when you get back to the beach, you're going to be tired out. You're going to feel like falling over. I've had that happen where you don't realize it. And next thing you know, you're like so far away from the beach. The current like pulled you away. You didn't even realize it. And then you got to swim all the way back. And by the time you get back, you're so what she's describing, it happens to people who are healthy sometimes. So I don't know why she's trying to make this something so, I mean, maybe there's more to it, but getting really tired and passing out after exhausting yourself in the ocean is not that uncommon. That's why we have lifeguards.
And then I scream, turn the effing camera off. I don't want anyone to see me like this. I'm so ashamed.
She did say
And
that.
I was this person
Welcome in, Kat.
who represented someone who loves their body. And I was at war with my body.
I'd
And
be
in that
interested for her to
moment,
get
I
a
was
more,
I am such a liar.
I think Anna either has more conditions than she tells us, or she intentionally keeps herself ignorant and doesn't even want to be tested for other stuff. I think that's the feeling I get. Like either she's in denial and doesn't want to even think about possibly having other issues, or she's just keeping it secret. But it's possible. It's certainly possible. Yes, to hikes. I remember that trip. She did those hikes through the rocks. And welcome in, Steady. So hopefully you're having a good weekend. But yeah, she absolutely was exhausting herself. She climbed in and out of that boat. She was spending, this was like what, her third day of the vacation? She was probably on Adderall for the first 3 days, or Vyvanse, or whatever pills she normally takes. And when they all wore off, she just completely collapsed. Her whole body collapsed. That does happen.
And I think that moment is where I was like, I need to make some changes. And I did not share that with the internet right away. I never shared that specific moment with the internet because it was too personal. I sometimes wonder if I've hurt people. As a creator in the body positivity space, I parroted a lot of the same messages that everybody else did.
Oh, wow. Is this actually a little bit of self-reflection from Anna? She actually feels conflicted about giving bad advice in the past? Is this something she actually has the slightest little bit of contrition in regard to? I would be glad to hear it, but I got to hear a little more of this. Does she really feel bad, or is she just saying this?
You know, love your body, indulge in what you want. Life is short. You know, don't feel like you need to have this health standard. And that line of thinking at a very high level isn't wrong, right? But I often wonder if I have driven people to not seek health. And
wow, Anna, that is the most honest thing I heard from her in a while. But I want to address this by Hippieista, and I think that this is a good point here. Sometimes you do get a doctor who really does not take your concerns seriously, and if you do have that, I would say try to find a different doctor, right? I mean, sometimes we're not able to. Sometimes the insurance situation or location, but that's unfortunate. If you have a doctor who doesn't take you seriously, you know, you need a doctor who takes you seriously. And regardless of what the specific reason is, you know, that's an important thing. So yeah, but here, Anna, with a moment of reflection, if this is honest, I do feel a little bit of sympathy here. I'm not made of stone. I do. I can understand how she feels, and I'll go out and I'll give a moment of honesty and self-reflection here. When I was younger, I was probably a bad influence on some people. I drank too much. I used to get high too much. And, you know, I never like actively encouraged anybody to do anything bad, but I certainly was not a good influence on people when I was younger. So I regret that. Thank goodness I do my best now to be a good influence on people. So I feel I've made, you know, amends as best I can. But yeah, this part here where Anna reflects, and did she give people bad advice? She probably did. Did anybody take it? Maybe. I don't know. That's a good question.
And I wonder if there's people who listened to me, who believed in me, who followed me, and are worse off because of it. And so part of the reason I share a lot about my health journey is because I have that guilt, and that guilt is going to follow me forever. And I did it unintentionally, and I did it because I myself was broken.
But I believe that there has
No,
to
it's
be
not
this
for a little
space
while.
where
No,
we
I
can
got you, Doc. I
acknowledge
got you,
that
Beast.
bodies come in different shapes and sizes. While at the same time acknowledge that just because your body doesn't fit a certain shape doesn't mean you should not care how you feel. It's a really complicated conversation.
It's a moment of vulnerability here. This is something that if it's real, I respect it. I hope it's real because I don't like to think Anna would fake something like this. But if this is some real vulnerability, I do respect this.
And it is very nuanced, and there are a lot of very angry voices in it. And I understand why they're angry, right? I get that anger because I've been there, and in a lot of ways, in some ways, I'm still there. But the messaging is at times causing the same
Oh
problem.
no, I get you, Beast. I don't take any offense.
And I don't know if I'll ever be smart enough or eloquent enough to fully explain that
It's good
dichotomy.
to give your
But
opinion here.
it is
That's
a
what I want.
community that saved me, but also a community that broke me. And that is a really
This is the one part of this podcast so far where I feel like Anna comes across as somewhat authentic. I typically think she's very inauthentic. I don't know if this crying is real, but the story feels real to me. It feels like she's at least being honest when she says that she's conflicted about her time in the body positivity movement, where she feels like she may have given some bad advice to people. She may have encouraged some negative behaviors, but she also feels like it was a good thing for her. So she's very conflicted. And that I really, respect that honesty if that's what that is.
really difficult thing to explain.
I want to share with you something that my mentor told me a long time ago about why people seek help. And he's a joint replacement surgeon, right? So he deals with people
That's got to
who
be
have
frustrating.
terrible
Kat.
arthritis in their knees and their hips all the time.
It's
And
really
he-
frustrating also that when we are in a situation when we have a doctor who's not taking us seriously, it's hard to find a doctor who does, because you can't just change, because you got to go through the insurance. You got to find another place that's nearby. You have to find a place that treats your condition. Then you have to update them on your whole story. And it's not easy changing doctors. So I can sympathize with people who stay with a doctor who's not, ideal, because I've had doctors who I didn't necessarily like, but the insurance and the ability to get an appointment, and there's just so many other factors that weigh into it. And I wish those other factors didn't exist. That's an unfortunate situation with the medicine that I've found, or rather with the medical care industry. Let me say that.
asked me, he said, do you know when people come to me and they
That's
say,
true. That's
I
not
want
good.
a knee replacement? And I said, oh, like, when their x-ray looks terrible and they're in, so much pain. And he said, it's not about the pain. People
Wow.
can handle pain, and people are handling pain.
Yeah, I mean, there are doctors who just, they mean well, but then there are doctors who just really don't take it seriously. And then there are doctors who are overworked. I mean, I don't like to generalize. Everything's different. But, if it's good to just try to talk to your doctor, I guess, at first. You give them the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, I just wanted to give you some more information about my condition and my situation. Because sometimes they really don't have the background. They just look at a paper for 2 minutes and that's all they have. Sometimes they really are rushed. So I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. But if you've been seeing a doctor for a while and they're not responsive to your needs, then then you may need to consider finding somebody who is.
All the time. It's when you are emotionally fatigued from the pain that is when they come to see me and they tell me they need help. And
That's
so
true.
you should feel no guilt in that you felt like it took too long for you to seek answers and
I find it interesting that the doctor is absolving her of any guilt, when I think that Anna really made a very honest kind of confession here. And I don't think the doctor can absolve her of guilt, because she may have actually harmed some people, and nobody can absolve her of that, except, maybe if she's a person of faith, maybe her own belief, she can get absolution. but that's not something another person can forgive you for. It's something that you need to just, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know what to say here precisely, but that's not, I do know that's not something another person can tell you, oh, it's okay. They don't know. They don't know. That's something she just needs to kind of, think about and maybe talk to a therapist about.
Reach out for help. I would say that's the norm.
Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. Honestly, thank you. It got to the point where,
Yeah, see, like right here, like I don't think this woman has the ability to give Anna this absolution, but Anna's quickly willing to take it. She's like, well, thank you. Now I don't feel bad anymore. But could she really be the one to give you that feeling?
I was afraid I was going to die. I know that sounds like dramatic, but I was also having extremely intense periods. I was bleeding constantly. Like, I just felt like my body was on the verge of shutting down.
So she hasn't really been clear on the exact time frame, but from what she describes, we have to assume that this is around the time that she collapsed in the sand in that video. So that was what, about 2 years ago? 2.5?
And if this is what living was like, then I didn't want to live.
Wow, that's a strong statement. So she's saying that she was so ill that she didn't even want to go on. And when she did her videos, she was always dancing in the videos and saying how happy she was. So it's pretty interesting to hear that she was that upset while putting on an image that she could not be happier.
And so at that
Shocking.
point, it became a choice of, do I want to die like this? Or do I want to try and make it better? And it took me,
he probably was well-intentioned.
a year of therapy to get to the point where I could mentally
not a
see
realistic
doctor,
goal.
because I was so paranoid from all the things I'd heard. And
Hold on, so it took
part
her
of
a year to see, let me rewind that. It took her a year to see a doctor because she was paranoid.
And it took me a year of therapy to get to the point where I could mentally see a doctor, because I was so paranoid from all the things I'd heard.
That is, mental illness is a terrible thing. So I'm not gonna dwell on whether that's certainly possible. We'll just leave it at that.
And part of that paranoia came from an experience I had when I first entered the body positive movement, where I went to a doctor. At this point, I was still really active. I was running about 3 miles a day.
See, now again, this doesn't add up. She says she was in the body positive movement. She was active running 3 miles a day. But she said that she joined that movement after she quit doing all the exercise, that she was exercising and dieting and it was destroying her body. So she had to quit doing all that. And then she joined the body positivity movement and gained a bunch of weight, ostensibly. But then she says she was still running 3 miles a day. So what was going on here?
Smaller than I am currently, and eating, pretty healthy. So I went to the doctor. I walked in. She ran all my labs.
So she was eating healthy and running 3 miles a day. When exactly was this?
No, nothing wrong. I did not have,
Nothing wrong either. Okay.
diabetes, prediabetes. At this point, nothing was wrong with me.
How long ago was
she tried
this?
to put me on diabetes medication simply because I was overweight.
How long ago was this that she's talking about? Because she doesn't provide any dates. She doesn't provide any numbers. She doesn't provide any names. This is all so vague. It's hard to really track the details.
Even though my blood labs did not indicate I needed it. Then she tried to sell me a program where I give myself a shot and eat 600 grams of chicken or something like that. So do you know what that is, by the way? It's like
600 grams of chicken is like 1.3 pounds of chicken. It's a lot of chicken, but I'm not sure exactly what your issue is, Anna, with that is though.
Some shot you don't eat, and then you eat like a tiny amount of protein, and that's it.
Oh my God. So like a shot, and that would allow you to stay on it. So in other words, a diet along with a medication. She's trying to make it sound like this is some horrible thing. She offered me an injection and a diet. And I was like, no, I'm not taking that.
And she was like, I want you to do this for 30 days. And I literally was like, hell to the no.
Yeah. She wanted you to go on a diet for 30 days and to try some injections. And you said, hell to the no. So this is, again, Anna's becoming very unsympathetic again.
No, I will not.
I will not
you know
do
what
that.
I'm talking about? Do you even know what that is?
I have no idea what that is. I mean, nowadays, with
I'm glad you enjoyed
the
it,
era of Ozempic, right?
Yeah.
People think shots. That's
No,
the
it was
I'm
norm.
probably gonna
Ozempic.
split it into
This
two
was-
parts,
That
though.
was the norm.
This was like this was before that, and it was like some
Mhm.
crazy thing, and then you would reintegrate food.
Yeah, it
So
sounds odd.
I remember being terrified because she also
I've got a feeling that she's exaggerating. I've got a feeling when she says 600 grams of chicken, I mean, I don't know. Again, I don't know. But Anna is a very unreliable narrator. Yes, there's doctors who don't have, make bad decisions, but I don't know. Going on a diet for 30 days doesn't sound like something so terrible to me.
sat me down and she's like, you need to exercise more. You need to do this. And I'm like, I'm running 3 miles a day. There is nothing more I can do.
But then what do you want this doctor to do for you then? If you're already exercising and you're already dieting and your blood work is all healthy, what is it you want people to do? What is it you want? You say you're confident in your body, your blood work is healthy, you're running 3 miles a day, you're eating healthy. What is it? Then why are you going to the doctor? What is it you want the doctor to do for you? You're eating healthy, you feel great. What exactly do you need?
So I had that experience. And now let's add to the table. I've gained back the weight. So now I'm 100 pounds heavier. What is
I
that
think
doctor
so.
going to say to me now? If that was my last experience.
Okay, so now that you gained back 100 pounds, what is the doctor going to say to you now? Well, clearly you stopped doing what you were doing. She wants us to believe that she saw the doctor, she was healthy, everything was great. A year later, she's changed nothing, but she's gained 100 pounds. And now the doctor, well, doctor, how do you explain yourself? Huh? Again, it's funny how Anna had like a little period where she was kind of making sense, and now she's back off the deep end again.
What is that doctor going to say to me now? They're going to say you're
Going to say you were either lying then or you're lying now because something has changed. There's no way you gained 100 pounds without changing anything. That's what the doctor is going to say to you. You were either lying then or you're lying now. Which is it?
trash. And now I've heard from everybody else around the internet that when you get bigger, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And they're nasty and mean and they do all these things. So my fear of the doctor was intense. So after a year of therapy,
I don't understand what her fear was, though. Her blood work was good. I mean, I understand that fear can be irrational. Let me say that. Fear can be irrational. I'm not trying to mock her if she has mental illness. I'm not trying to be mean like that. But my question is more, what did she want from the doctor? Why was she even seeing a doctor? If she, as she says, she was running 3 miles a day, eating healthy, her blood work was good, had no diabetes, so what are you seeing the doctor for? Just a regular checkup? Okay.
I kind of went through it. I saw a doctor through a process of extreme elimination. ZocDoc is amazing to get reviews on doctors so you can at least get a gist of what people like and don't like about them. And so I read.
Well, the thing is, Kat, it's gram of protein. 1 gram of chicken does not have a gram of protein because you got to think it's like what 28 grams of chicken has, I think, 8 grams of protein, something like that. I'm sure Jarella knows this better than me. But it's something like 28 grams of chicken has 8 grams of protein. If it's so 600 grams of chicken would be 300 grams of protein, or excuse me, would be 160 grams of protein, which is a lot of protein, but it's not to the point where it's it's not crazy. It's a lot, but it's not crazy.
All of the reviews, and luckily someone who was plus size had already seen this doctor and said that they were.
It's a lot. I'm not saying it's not a
and all
lot,
of that. And I said, awesome,
crazy.
I'm going to go to this person. That doctor, I can definitively say, changed my life because they started the process for where I am now. And when I went in to see him, he sat down, and honestly, I walked in with going back to shots. I said, just give me Ozempic.
Well, like, that's fair, but what could he reprimand her for? If she's eating healthy, she's exercising, and she has nothing wrong with her. Like, I guess I'm saying, like, he could say, well, you're too fat. But if she knows that she's doing everything right, I mean, like I said, mental illness doesn't make sense. So I'm not trying to say what she should have done. If it was a matter of mental illness, then it is what it is. I can't tell her what to do. But if she was thinking logically, it doesn't make sense.
Just do it. If it'll make me feel better, I can't feel this way, because I honestly believed that the solution to my problem was that I needed to lose weight. So I had worked through therapy to accept that losing weight.
But how can you lose weight if you're already dieting and exercising? Like, what else can you do? Like, it's not, there's nothing else there is no like third option. If you're already dieting, you're already in a caloric deficit, you're already exercising, and you're not losing weight, you need to call, I don't know, you need to go to like a clinic or something, because there's no explanation for that.
Could help my health. I went through a lot of things to try to accept the fact that I was going to have to lose weight, right? And that wasn't a bad thing, but it was about feeling better. So I went into this doctor and I'm like, just give me the shot. And he literally looked at me and was like, how can I give you a medicine if I don't know if you're sick? And
so instead of going back to the doctor who told her he wanted to give her an injection, or she wanted to give her an injection and put her on a diet, she went to a different doctor and said, I want you to give me the same injection. That's odd, but all right. And then that doctor said, well, I don't even know if you're sick. Well, she would know. Like, if Anna doesn't know whether or not she's overeating, then who does? If she knows that she has a weight problem, then who are you to tell her she doesn't?
it kind of took me back. He's like, I'm not giving you anything until we read your labs.
Well, that's a good point,
like,
actually. That's a very good point.
I don't know what's going on with you, and that is not
portion
a professional thing.
Is
to do. Just
absolutely
hand over medication
more important maybe than the food. That's a good point. Anna might be saying, well, I'm eating healthy, but she might be eating massive portions. So that's a fair point.
Some labs on me, and the first thing that came up is that I was in a really bad place. My instincts of the fact that I was on the verge of death weren't necessarily so wrong.
Hold on. Her labs were in a bad place. She said 1 year before, all of her labs were perfect. She said everything was perfect just 1 year before. She was eating healthy. Out of nowhere, she gained 100 pounds and all of her numbers went to hell. And she changed absolutely nothing. So what happened? What actually happened then? How did she gain 100 pounds and have her numbers go to hell if she says she was eating right and exercising and doing everything right?
I had major deficiencies in a lot of different vitamins. I had a lot of anemia and I was losing blood. Additionally, I came back as positive for Hashimoto's.
Oh, so, okay. Well, maybe that was what it was.
I literally thought, okay, these are the answers, right? So put on the medication for, get on Synthroid, which is what you take for thyroid disorder, or hypo, or the what?
That would explain it.
Hashimoto's thyroiditis.
That would explain it.
It actually can cause hyper or hypo, depending on it's your body's attack on your thyroid.
I think we're actually going to
affects the production.
I think it's been about 2 hours. I think this is a good place to split it.
So a medication
right about halfway
Synthroid
through
is given when you have abnormally levels of low thyroid hormone in your body.
Okay, thank you. So I got put on Synthroid. I got put on all these vitamins. Immediately, things started to improve. To a point. I started having more energy. I started having less days in extreme fatigue. So I started to feel better. And I was like, this is it. I've solved all my problems. I started to lose weight just because my thyroid was now working.
That's interesting. So in other words, she says that she gained 100 pounds from this thyroid condition. I'm not a doctor, like I said, so maybe that is possible. So I think this is a good place to leave it. Yeah. All right, everybody. By the way, you were an awesome audience today, everybody. Thank you so much for coming through. I hope everything works out okay for Dot if she's listening to the replay. Thank you to all of the lurkers. Thank you to all the people watching the replay. Thank you to all the chatters. Next week, I'm going to do something. I'm going to clear out the mods, and then we're going to figure out some kind of a situation for like making like just a few mods, because we have so much more than we need. We just really do. But we'll figure that out another day. Thank you, everybody, for coming in. You are awesome. You're an awesome group. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you to all my members as well. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the show. And I had a lot of fun doing it. I think this was a really good deep dive into who Glitter and Lasers is as a person. I think we learned something. And I think that, I don't know if it's going to be next week. I don't know, but if it's not next week, it'll be in 2 weeks when I'll do the second part of this. But I'll keep you folks posted. I'll put up a notice when I do eventually have it ready. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you on Wednesday, I hope. Oh, and please be sure to like the stream and click that subscribe bell if you can. Thank you. Be blessed, everyone.